I'm just allergic to
In San Ynez, there's
bites.
tons of tarantulas.
I hate it.
And they're like this.
Get fucked.
And they go, it's mating season. And the thing is going like
and then they look at
one
you.
foot every 2 minutes. I go, what, is he sprinting towards someone to have sex with? Because
Gee, talk about the slow plays. Like,
no, they really walk weird there, but they're slow. But they're in our house up there all
they
of a
go
sudden,
like this too.
creeping around.
Yeah,
that's it.
I am in Arizona. They're not. They go. Those don't bite. I don't think. I need more proof.
Tell that to my leg.
Yeah. Tell it's my swollen left nut.
I knew you were going there.
I know, it's horrible.
Tell it to my scrotum, okay?
Dude,
Nothing like a shark bite on your
Denny
lower
Johnson.
testicle.
Remember Denny Johnson?
Denny Johnson,
He
of
goes
course.
like this. The other day, he's got a van to travel for stand-up. He goes, the other day, I slammed my finger in my van. It got all big and purple and swollen, so then I slammed my dick in there.
That's a great line.
I know.
That's just a great joke.
He's the guy that said he wrote his whole act in one night when he was fucked up or something, and then he always has done that's when you could do your same act. I was going to ask Leno that if that's true.
There is a thing, a poison in a way, that people get 20 minutes the first week, literally, and then ride it for a half century.
That's what they used to be able to do. You just travel with it.
Three Stooges never changed their line. For a half century. They went on the road because they got nothing for their shorts. And they just...
Tom Segura.
Oh, no. Now we have a theme.
It works.
Well, I like the hand thing.
It works again. Tom Scrotum. What is his name?
Tom Scalacco.
Tom Scrogoga. He is...
Tom Segura.
He's Bert Kreischer's friend. Ooh, we're buddies. Gross.
2 bears, 1 cave. You think by this point they could buy a second cave, okay?
You know, I went to Sunglass Hut the other day. I go, this place is doing pretty well. I think they can move into a building.
Tom Segura.
Does well. By the way,
incredibly
everyone at
funny.
the airport looks like Bert Kreischer. I realize it's these big dudes with hats. Where's
I
Gate
know.
18? I'm like, hey, Bert. Hey, Bert. Everyone's Bert. He
Then
did 2 bears. You did Bert's podcast, right?
I did the half a cave and a kind of bear guy or something.
I did one igloo.
I was in Tom Segura's seat, I guess.
Ooh.
So I did 2 hours with Kreischer.
Jesus Kreischer, Carvey.
That is good for Dennis Kreischer.
Yeah.
Jesus Kreischer.
Tom Segura. Forget about Bert. This is Tom.
Segura. Well, let's just state some facts. The guy is a great stand-up.
Yep, great stand-up.
Check him out on Netflix.
Great podcast. Got in early. Does with his lovely wife, Christine. And they have a big one called Your Mother's House, right?
Early adopter was getting, we're going to break this down in this. You're going to listen shortly.
Yeah. You're going to shut up and listen.
Shut up and listen. But we're going to break down how he figured out the podcasting thing and what do you call it? You know, the knots are like 2000, 2010. What is 2010 to 2020? What do you call that?
Those are the teens, I think.
That's the teens? What if it's 12? You fucked me, man.
I don't know. Were you saying something? I don't know. Were you?
Well, it was like 2012 or 13. He was really getting into podcasting.
Yes.
And he's a scientist about how it influences your draw on the road. And we break all that down.
Oh,
we break down
he's on
things
a
a lot.
worldwide tour called I'm Coming Everywhere, which is a funny title. And he rakes in cash. Tour, podcast.
He tours around the world, Tom Segura.
Still some more money in the gutters.
Yeah, and then there's stuff in a trash can. Get the lid off. Kick the can.
Yeah, it's clean out the leaf bag.
As long as you say what you're doing, it's a perfect
It's all
sound.
funny noises.
Have you seen my character sound effecty?
Guy.
Gets
go.
in a car. Adjusts the mirror. Puts it in gear.
Gets a clown
It's all
horn.
the same. Gets a clown horn. It's like. Anyway,
So Tom Segura,
Tom
check him out.
Segura is our guest, and
We had fun with him.
he's really funny, fun, super smart, and he'll say just dry things. He's very like how Bert Kreischer is loud, and he's such a big presence, and Tom is the calm one. So they're fun together, and we've gotten them both. Mm-hmm.
We just go quietly until the podcast starts.
Start it. It's only an hour. You still have the rest of your
I know,
day.
what the fuck? It's only an hour. It's like
Only an
it's
hour.
like a ripoff.
I don't know why when we execute prisoners, it doesn't go well half the time and they come back alive.
They
and stuff.
don't have it wired.
Can you choose to be exploded or just hit in the head with a sledgehammer or Mike Tyson with a free punch? That's how I want to go out.
That's it. That's a great idea. And I don't think they really give you choices anymore. And they should. You should be able to say.
You should pick from 100 things.
How would you want to go out?
Well, first I would want to just chug a quart of vodka probably. I mean, I'd want to get really anesthetized. I've had operations where I'm coming to on morphine and they could have just chopped me in half. I couldn't care less. So I'd get vodka, morphine, and then I would try to run 100 miles in the desert.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. So like you'd want to accomplish something.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't have lofty goals anymore.
I don't know. What about you, Tom or David? What do you guys got?
I mean,
the feel good podcast of the year.
I'd like to see like if I could like really take a stab at, like how
many does it take? Like Woodsy the Owl when on the pop commercial. Mm-hmm. How many does it take till you go, all right, enough?
Yeah. Huh. What if it was like somebody just I've always wanted to see like push a safe off of a ledge onto somebody. Oh, yeah. So, do it to me.
I'd like Tony Robbins to push my head into that cold plunge pool he has and just hold me under, but
with
doing me a favor, because that guy's got meaty mitts.
He does.
This is one of our most interesting startings. But Tom Segura, Dana, is
an
American hero. He, I mean, I don't think you've heard that.
What did he do? He created a comedy empire outside the traditional system of Johnny Carson and Saturday Night Live. He's here right now, Tom. And he created a comedy empire leveraging this new technology. And it's brilliant. And his specials are amazing, I have to say. I heard a lot of your good stuff today.
Thank you. Don't forget, I hosted SNL twice, but keep going.
You did? That was back in when they weren't filming it?
That's funny because we get a Tom Segura guest prep. They would tell us that. Have they asked you to host recently? Tom?
Negative.
That's kind of strange because you've reached critical mass where they would think, check the numbers.
Well, you have to be on the radar because, listen, first of all, with SNL, you did grow up. And when you were growing up, did you watch SNL? Most people did.
So much.
And what was your chunk that you were into the most? Chunk of casting?
When you were 12 or 14 and what year? Like 19?
I mean, Dana is the fucking GOAT for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, you're the greatest.
Tom, I'm blushing if I could.
You are.
Thank you.
I mean, I was, of course, I was absolutely obsessed. I never missed it. And for that time period, so I was, I was born in 79, when you get into the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, that there's probably a 6-year window there where I don't miss a single episode. I think, that's like, that was what we did. I mean, I told David when we podcasted, it was like, we would watch SNL and then it's like Monday morning, you just go in and just repeat the lines, just do impressions. That's all we would do. I mean, just like all the impressions. And you're a fucking chameleon. I mean, you were amazing, Dana.
Thank you.
I know that David was there.
No, Lauren did say, David, I want you to be an extra. By the way, the funniest thing about Lauren is saying, I brought you in as a backup for Dana, knowing he was leaving. And I'm like, I don't even do what Dana does. No one does. Like, just because I have blonde hair, it's like, I do a whole different thing. But Dana was so good and so fun to watch that it made it impossible for someone like me to even contemplate going on SNL because Dana's like the quintessential SNL person. Funny, scores, goes into sketches, disappears, and any characters in the news, you play them.
And it's so versatile. And like you could have a standout, like the lead character, or like you said, you could walk through a scene and deliver a line. Mm. And I think that would probably be for like, and when I always imagine what it's like not to host, but to be a cast member. Cause it's like, obviously that's not a thing that'll ever happen, but like you imagine it. And I go, man, that would intimidate the shit out of me to be in a cast with you. I think I would be like, fuck, because you're so good at all of it that I would just be like, I don't know what I do here.
Well, it surprised me too. Just quickly, I did not have an enormous amount of confidence when I was cast.
Really?
And it was a little bit like, okay, I guess I got it. I felt a little sick to my stomach. But as I went forward, when I was trying to do stand-up as a sketch player without really great material, but just riffing characters, sometimes that was kind of difficult. But as I got up forward on SNL, I got more confidence. And that getting confidence is a magical feeling at whatever you're doing. Going back to our guest Tom,
no, it's
like when did you turn, like you start doing stand up and you're going along, and then at one point you kind of leap forward. Was it confidence, work ethic, or just time? I mean, how soon would you're going, I'm pretty much consistently can do an hour and pretty much consistently levitate the room. Well, or even when you felt confident, like when was the first time you said, okay, I'm going to do this?
I was definitely a relentless worker as a stand-up. So once I understood how the system worked, I was like, oh, like they let you MC. I was like, I just wanted to feature, right? Just wanted to be like the middle act. And I took every single offer all over the country to middle everywhere. And then when I cracked headlining, I just kept doing it so aggressively. Like we just worked. Like I never took, I hated having a week off. So I not like anybody enjoys that, but I'm saying it was just like a relentless pursuit of it. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of feel like, yeah, there's a thing where you go like, oh, I'm proficient at this. I know how to do this, but you realize it doesn't matter if people don't know. Like people would come to the shows and have a good time, but you're like, man, this thing's not going to change unless people buy tickets, to
see you.
Yeah, it's like
you're just there because they're coming to a comedy club in general.
Exactly.
But you need them to switch and go, because they used to have mailing lists and stuff, and maybe you did that.
Oh, I did. We call it, obviously they call it papering the room. It's like the club goes, hey, we're at this is the Omaha Funny Bone at the mall. And they just reach out to their list and they go, here's the act this week. And people go, who's that? And they go, well, it's a free ticket. And that's what I did. I just did those for years and years and did those over and over and over. But you get to the point where you're like, hey, I feel like I could sell a ticket if people knew who I was. But the only thing that was doing that at the time was just specials. You have to get like a special out. And that became just my goal, was to get an hour special out. And then when it did come out, it did change things for me.
First one changed things?
Yeah, well, the half hour did. That's the funny thing is I remember the producer at Comedy Central. I'm in New York and we're shooting Comedy Central Presents, which was like, I thought, a huge goal, right? Because every comic that I looked up to had a Presents. And I shot it and it went well. And I remember the producer pulling me aside going, this is going to change your road work. And I was like, really? And I got so excited, but I tried to keep it inside. I was like, oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you, God. And it came out. And when it came out, I saw like some stuff on social media or whatever. And then I was like, well, what's about to happen? And I called my agent and I was like, hey, I want to work this club. And he's like, okay. And he called and he goes, yeah, they said no. And I go, but I have a Comedy Central Presents.
But I did a Game Changer.
They don't care.
Everyone says Game Changer. My agents every year used to go, this is going to be your year. And I go, you fucking liar. Yeah. You say that every year and it gets me, actually, I believe it. I go, this one? They're like, yeah. I go, like they know something. I go, they just say that to shut you up. And I'm like, oh my God. Well, what should I do to prepare? And then that's what you were doing, is like, I got a Presents under my belt. That's funny when people go, you do a premium blend, you do a Presents, that's the lingo.
Dude, yeah. And I really thought like, this is going to be a real thing for me. Like this is going to make things different. I really did.
I agree. Do you think that's you're famous? You go, I will be famous starting tomorrow.
Did you, from that first half hour, did you feel like I'll just get better? Or did you work even harder, or how did you keep improving from that point? Because the writing I'm seeing now is so, as good as it gets. It's a bitch you're landing. and the acting you're doing in it. I mean, when did that come up? Was it sort of the first one that went on Netflix or something? Did you make leaps even, or was it just exposure? You were already completely
I think I always stay, it's funny, you're around comedians obviously all the time, right? As a comic, and you realize what a disease the bitterness of these guys.
Yeah. Never hang out with comedians.
I hate bitter. You guys.
Yeah. It's like they're just like miserable about, they're like, shit just never worked. And I always tried to stay away from those like that, or at least you can't stay away from it, but you go, I don't want to embrace that. Yeah. And so I told myself that I was like, well, if this didn't change things like the way that I go, it's the next thing. And the next step up would be the full hour. So I was like, I need to do an hour special, which again became like my sole goal. And I only cared about being on Comedy Central because that was the spot. I was like, it was 2013. I was like, it's got to be Comedy Central. And we invited Comedy Central to see it. And they literally said, well, there's not really a theme. That was the feedback I got.
Oh, really?
I mean, I told my manager at the time, I was like, I think the theme is jokes.
Tom, I'm more like that too. I look at some people's act and I go, when they do a whole special about something, I'm baffled. Yeah. I can't even come up with jokes about when you have the whole playing field. You can do a joke about anything in the world. And then when they go, I'm going to do them about my divorce, the whole thing. And you go,
the whole thing.
Holy shit.
And I still can't, all my hours are like bit about this, bit about that, it's never like, here's the
cohesive.
Yeah. So we ended up shooting it on spec and we still sent it to Comedy Central.
Oh, I love it.
Because they only seen like a version of it at a club. And I go, here's the finished product. And they said no again.
Wow. So how does Tom Segura, because I like to use the name in that context, how do you deal with that kind of rejection? Are you bummed out for a week? Or because I auditioned for SNL once and I followed Kennison at the store and it was a death trap and a death set. And I was kind of, I wouldn't say clinically depressed. I wouldn't label myself as depressed, but I was really,
he was so good.
I was bummed out for a couple months. Just that's that. So when you hear no, now it's 2 times in a row. Are you pretty resilient? Obviously, you wouldn't be here. Do you take a knee for a day? I mean, you have a couple of beers. I mean, how do you process it? I'll show those motherfuckers. Might be a good way to go.
I'm definitely bummed. I'm definitely, in the moment, a little bitter. I'm definitely like, this is such fucking bullshit. I'm looking at the ones that they did choose, and I'm like, you took this piece of shit.
Oh yeah, I've done.
There you go. You look like De Niro for a second. You took this piece of shit.
Fucking piece of shit.
That's your hilarious theme act you love so much.
Also, like, what's the theme of this fucking dog shit?
Yeah.
Oh, the theme is dog shit. Okay.
Yeah. And then I actually got, I've said it before, but like the same call where I get the news that they're passing, I'm just on the phone. I pulled over. I was like out in La Cienega, and I pulled over, and I was like, "Okay." I'm just listening. He goes, and then he goes, "By the way, we sent it to HBO." And I go, "Seriously?" And he goes, "Yeah, they said no too." And I'm like,
oof.
"Okay, why would you even tell me this?" And then he's like, "Sent it to Showtime. They said no."
No, across the board.
I'm like, "Cool." And then he goes, but Netflix. And in 2013, it's like it's a thing, but it's not like the hot place to be. Yeah.
Yeah. House of Cards was around that time, or just maybe not happened yet? Because that was a big sea change. House of Cards, they're doing Kevin Spacey's going on Netflix. You were right at the edge of it, right?
Yeah, I think it's close, but I don't think it's out yet. And then he's like, no, like they're getting a lot of subscribers now. And I'm like, great. That's how the phone call ends. I go, all right, well, thanks. And I'm just kind of bummed out, but I go, what can I do? And what I can do is literally go back to work. So I just like go back on the road and I just act like, I guess I got to just come up with a new hour and try this again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That is probably 6 months before.
Well, wait, you you got the news that Netflix wanted your horrible hour.
Yeah.
And they're into bad comedy right now, and this is our window.
Yeah.
But you don't give it to them?
No, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
So like, fine, it'll come out, later.
Sure.
I'm like, whatever. And I just completely just move on.
You did the opposite. You didn't bank everything on it. You just said, fuck it. Good. Throw it out.
It's going to die on Netflix,
Yeah,
Flix, whatever it's called. It's going to
I
die.
thought it would definitely do less for me than the Presents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it came out. And I remember when it came out, like, again, you see some tweets and like a couple of people said that, I stopped me. Hey, I was like, great. And
great, fuck you.
I didn't think anything of it. And then like 3 months later, I remember I did the Cleveland Improv, and the manager comes up to me at the end of the week. He goes, I don't know why the fuck this happened, but you sold some tickets this weekend.
Wow, that gave me the chills, though. I mean, the fact that you're suddenly valuable in some way,
that's a rush.
That's a lifelong goal that you're like, wait.
That sentence.
Oh, yeah.
You're selling a shit ton of tickets. When that starts to happen, it's like.
And here's the thing. Here's how fucking removed from the correlation of the two. I was like, wait, why? He's like, no, I don't know why.
And he's shocked. That's how he doesn't think you're that good. Or just, I'm stunned, man.
He like sends me the breakdown. He's like, look at this shit. And I'm like, what is that? He goes, well, you hit some bonuses, but he goes, I don't know, man. And then he just like walked away. And I just thought, well, that was a good weekend. And I still wasn't like, oh, the special's working, And then the next few months, it started to happen more and more and more. And then it became a thing where it was like, hey, you sold out this weekend. Like the whole weekend sold out. That was probably after like 6 months.
Wow.
It took that long to seep, right?
Yes.
Wow. And that was the one called Completely Normal, 2014.
Yeah, we shot it in 13. It came out in 14. And then by 15, I was just doing, by the end of 14, I was selling out clubs. And then in 15, I was doing like rock clubs and, like one-nighters and like small theaters, or just like I could like I could go to like a club on a Monday and just they'd give me the door, and I would just I started to work like that. Like
casinos too, right?
Man,
casinos are where it's at. Yeah,
casinos pay more, but sometimes the audience can be a little tough.
This is a crazy inside baseball thing, but there are casinos, and this is really crazy when you actually just do the finance, like the numbers on this.
Mm-hmm.
There are a number of casinos that will pay well over the gross of the show. And when you think of that, you're like, wait, what? The show is grossing X amount and they're going to pay you over that. And then you realize, well, there's a calculation that they do. Mm-hmm. They're like, if this many people come to the casino, we don't even care that we're parting with this, because these people are going to get rooms, gamble, drink, eat. And you're like, the way that it becomes a little like ecosystem of an economy on in a night it's really fascinating.
Playing the Desert Inn in Vegas, which was an incredible room. Now it's the Wynn. It was blowing up. 600 seats, low ceiling. I go down for the sound check and they got a Goomba type manager there. And I go, how are the ticket sales? How are the ticket sales? And this is a quote. Mark Pitta was there, my opener. He goes, what do I give a shit? I got Indonesians dropping 10 large upstairs tonight.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Indonesians dropping 10 large. But yeah, and they do the analytics. They told me they'll see what Carrot Top numbers are, or like how much money is dropped in the casino that
on your night. Yeah.
Does your audience go out and then
does your audience
money?
Drink? Does your audience
get drunk and leverage their house?
Do our high rollers ask for your tickets? Because you can see the front row, and a lot of times when you do Vegas or any of these places, casinos, the front row is sparse or it's choppy because people go, give me tickets to everything. I'm a high roller. And they go, you got 2 tickets up front. If you want them, you got this. And, they walk in like Meghan Markle in the middle of your set if they want. But sometimes they go, nah, I think what the calculation is, they just need to get them. And the showroom's always in the very farthest corner of the casino. So they have to walk by and they calculate. They probably spend $22 on slots on the way out of boredom. They walk by our restaurants. They probably eat at one. Now they're aware of our casino because Tom Segura they've never come here. But because we're mixing up our acts, they go, oh, I'll go see him. And then they go, oh, I've never been to this casino. I'll come back. So they got to get him in somehow. They don't even want you to do your act.
Yeah.
They're just like, get him in, touch base, and go back out.
I just had this happen at a casino. This is wild. I'm backstage, and it's a big room. It's a 6,000 seat room. So
wow.
basically, it's what they consider a half arena, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That type of shell design.
Big, yeah.
Yeah.
Big room. And there's in those types of rooms, the way that it's laid out, it's kind of hard. You can't really peek out. They have huge, scaffolding and curtains everywhere. But I hear Kirk Fox, who's on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear him at one point go, "Hey, man." He goes, hey, man, you got to calm down, okay? And it's not like, I'm like, this is definitely some shit.
If Kirk is saying that, he's pretty chill. Great stuff.
Yeah, he's pretty chill, and he's like, he's so funny. And so it makes my ear, it catches my ear. So I turn and I'm like, what's going on? So I try to see, but I can't really see. I just see Kirk up there on the stage. And then, a few minutes pass, and he goes, hey, man. Hey, dude, I'm telling you, I want you to stay, but you got to calm down. And so then I'm backstage, and I got like at these big casinos, there's like 200 security staff. Like it's a lot of security, right? So they start coming around. I hear they're all on their walkies and their earpieces, and so I'm like, what is happening? And they're like, well, there's this guy in the front row, and I'm like, what's going to happen? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And they go, well, we think it's going to be too disruptive to remove him during Kirk's set. So what we're going to do is, because he's like getting through it, he's almost done. When he gets off stage and you're about to go on stage, that's when we'll remove him. And I go, hey man, it's your security. Do whatever you want. I just want to know what's going on. And they're like, that's what we're going to do. I go, okay, great. Kirk finishes he says goodnight. He walks off stage. They start playing a song, and that's like my cue that I have like 10 seconds, and then I walk on stage. So I walk on stage, and as I walk on stage, I grab the mic, and I see like 8, 9 yellow security shirts, big black letters on it, all gathered around this dude in the front row.
Oh God.
So I'm just, how's everybody doing? I'm just still like,
what's up?
And I grab the mic and I'm like, hey, and I can't even get out the first sentence. And this becomes mayhem, right? So like they are holding this guy, and I see his head pop out from under like a chokehold, and he goes, Tom.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He goes, I came to see you. And I go, what do you want me to do? And he goes, help me.
Oh my God. Help me.
I go, I think it's beyond my control now. They start to pull him, and dude, it's taking like 6, 7 guys. His girl pops up, and she fucking punches one of the security guys. Yeah. And I'm like, and I'm sitting here from the stage. I haven't started talking yet.
Everyone's watching, and you're all just watching.
Yeah. And there's the Jumbotron.
Watching you watch. Yeah.
Jeez.
And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. She turns and starts yelling at me too. I go, what do you want me to do? She takes her beer, throws it on one of the security guys.
Smart.
The guys start dragging the guy out. And when they drag him out, he takes them into an aisle. So he drags security guys into an aisle. I see shoes come off, pants come off. They finally get him stood up. Underwear's off. He's fully naked in the arena now, right?
It's Conor McGregor.
I'm like, oh my God. This guy's like, I would say maybe 5'9", 265, 270 pounds.
Okay. So looks good with his clothes off.
Looks great. It's a nice shot. I'm able to put like the show back on the tracks. I finally get off stage, and I'm like, dude, that was the fucking wildest opening to a show I've ever had. And they go, yeah, the cops here, that guy's in jail, blah, blah, blah. Like half an hour later, we're walking through the casino. There's the guy.
No.
There's the guy and I'm like, how is he walking around?
You betrayed me.
He doesn't see me. But when he walks by, we're all like, that's the guy. And we talked to one of the security people, high roller. He's a front row high roller.
Whale.
Yeah, he's a whale. They're like, yeah. I go, this dude like knocked one of your
And then what they get away with, unreal.
They're like, yeah, 10 grand a hand, dude. It's fine. It's totally fine.
Willing to look the other way.
So how long did it take you to feel like you're doing your set then after he goes out naked and they're screaming and fighting? Did you go into your set or you do like old club stuff where you kind of do all quasi crowd work?
You know, the funny thing is it's always less time than you think. Like in your head, you're like, that was 10 minutes. It's really like 3. But 3 minutes of talking about something that's happening in the room is a long time.
And it's not jokes and you're in uncharted territory. You don't know if it's funny. And you want to just start going, anyway, dogs are funny. And everyone goes, oh, we're back in the act.
Did you get an angle on it, Tom? Because your experience. Because a lot of times I would intuitively go from that guy's point of view. Let's go to the show tonight. It's going to be great. Or just find an angle about it, you know?
Yeah, I was making commentary about it. I was asking, when I was asking, like, I would see big muscular dudes like, where were you? We needed you like a moment ago.
Okay, there you go.
Anytime that I would say something in the act that referenced like somebody who is out of their mind, drunk or drug, I'd make reference to the guy. He was like a callback thing.
Oh, built-in callback is nice.
I would also tell the people how I would reference other popular comedians and how they would not have gotten that at one of their shows. I was like,
oh, that's your crowd.
And that every night you have some naked guy fighting security guards. It's not a thing.
I was like, you think you're going to get this at a Sebastian show?
You know what's good? Dana, do you ever do this one where you go, these guys that work their jokes in, they go, they go, where are you from? And the guy goes, he wants to hear Cleveland. And he goes, Cincinnati. He goes, this guy last night was from Cleveland. And he said, and you go, was it always last night? And I go, I see the guy 7 nights in a row say it. I go, oh, that's just part of his act. If it's not what he wants to hear, or you could go, this guy last night started some shit in the front row. And then you say that for 3 years. Everything's last night.
Or what is the town that you mentioned that'll get a big reaction? Like I was in, Bucks County and, whatever town away, that just gets a huge laugh. In Fresno, it was Merced, I think, or, just.
You have to be a reliable person, Dana. They give you the wrong one and it bombs.
Yeah.
Just to fuck with you.
It's like at a corporate gig when they go, make fun of the crowd. And then the guy goes, I know everybody here. You know what's funny? Talk about our VP of sales. He has 3 balls and beats his wife. Say something about that. And I go, well, I don't know. And then you say something and everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And the guy's like, isn't that hilarious? And you're like, no.
Jim has MS, but he's got a sense of humor about it. He really laughs about it. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So I remember Jay Leno telling me he was doing a corporate date and he's just making fun of some couple. Yeah, a lot of people, they hook up when they're on the road, this and that. And then the woman was next to the guy and she's got up and screamed and cried and ran out. It's just like, you don't know what you're touching.
Tom, when you were doing this with the Dana, I'm sorry, I have to go back. The information you didn't have, which might have helped, is what went on for so long. Was he pushing people? Was he yelling?
I found out. So when all the shit finally came, I was like, Kirk, what was happening? He was like, dude, and this is one of the worst things people think about, about heckling and stuff. He was repeating everything that Kirk said back to Kirk, but he's in the front row and loudly. So like, Kirk would be like, and then, I rode the bus. He'd be like, you rode the bus. Ha ha. The bus. So he was just like, hey man, like you just got to relax.
I just had that at the Comedy Store. The guy, I don't even know if something was up with him, but he looked like he was having a great time. And he just kept saying my punchline after to the people around him.
It's the worst.
But everyone hears it and it stops my next setup. And I'm like, I go, hey man, I try to be nice. And when they kicked him out, he was the same thing. He's like, David, Tom wouldn't help me, but would you?
Would you?
God. But he did say, hey man, he looks up to me. And that's the weirdest feeling. I'm like, I have to let you go now.
I had a guy on the balcony scream. Like, I don't even know what's going on. It's a balcony.
It's a melee now.
Theater. This is a different show. So I'm just on stage and he just starts to yell, they're throwing out the wrong guy. Right. And I'm like, what? And he's like, they're throwing out the wrong guy.
Wow.
And I go, I don't know. It sounds like the right guy to me. Like all of it too is always related to just booze. They're always just drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy in the front row was drunk. This guy's drunk.
Yeah. It's always alcohol. I sometimes will get, because of church lady, just someone in the back about every 10 seconds just going, lady, throughout my set. Lady.
So gross. Yeah.
That's why we love stand-up. When you have a hot
is when they start yelling at each other and it's pure chaos.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's like, hey, shut the fuck up. And he goes, fuck you. Yeah. And I go,
yeah, I love when the audience is heckling each other. This is fucking amazing.
Or that you look over and they're standing at the edge of the stage. A drunk guy, 6'5", is just standing there. He's on the stage with you now. Do you hold your ground? We ask him, do you hold your ground? I don't. I said, you got it. Go ahead. Some people, if they have a guitar, they'll fight try to fight for the stage. If someone storms it, I leave. But you look pretty like you could handle yourself physically, Tom. You probably could fight a heckler.
I don't know. Depends on if he's 6'5".
All right, make him 5'10".
Right. Oh yeah, I'm taking the mic stand and swinging it at him for sure. Yeah, let's go, man.
So what I'm curious about, to pivot for a second, if you guys want, is that fairly recently, because I've been at this a long time, you just started to make some money, real money. You're stacking money in the bank. It's happening, right? You're making real money.
It's Fort Knox over there.
And now it's just only 6-7 years later, and you have at least probably 50 grand net in the bank right now. So easy. But anyway, you've gotten incredibly successful in such a short period of time outside the systems. I don't have a question. It's just an observation. It's just an extraordinary story that we hear about as comedians. Tom's doing this. Tom did that. Tom did a live stream.
Tom. That's all I hear about.
It's really fun. And Sebastian. And then there's Sebastian too. There's just people.
Yeah, I hear about him. Well, you're doing a lot of stuff. Now, Tom, my question is, when you are doing, so you do sort of maybe like a formula where we jumped off. You do a special. It looks like you did one, mostly stories for Netflix. And then they asked you for another one. And your first one obviously seeped in. So you go, yeah, I'll do another one. But now you have to come up with a new hour, I guess. That's hard. So you do that. And now it's a system. Are you starting a podcast around now, or did you have it?
I started the podcast 3 years, almost 3 years before the first special.
Okay. So 2010 or 11.
Okay.
Late 2010, I started the podcast.
Okay.
The cool thing about that was those definitely started to feed each other.
Sure.
Even if, I don't know. I remember at one point, I think we had 20,000 listeners on the podcast, spread out. That's not that many people. But if you're just trying to do like a one-nighter somewhere and you're like, hey, I'm going to Chicago. And, of those 20,000 people listening, you might have like 1,000 in Chicago, and you might be able to get 400 of them to come out. That is actually a big deal at that point, because you're selling 400 tickets when people are like, how the hell did you get 400 people to come out tonight?
Mm-hmm. They're buying booze. It helps the club. It's
Oh yeah. That was a huge game changer then. And then when the special came out and people go, hey, I like this guy, or like, I liked your special. What else do you have? And, they discovered the podcast, some of them like it, some of them don't, but you're definitely bringing in a new audience of people. So those have continued. Every special and every year of the podcast, they've continued to grow, and they feed each other. And now there's just tremendous amounts of money.
Yeah.
Well, we're rich too.
I know.
No, I mean, I grew up incredibly middle class, barely. David, his nickname is Silver Spoon. It was always easy.
My parents were both strippers. I made money. I got paid in ones. I slept on a bed covered in ones every night. My mom would throw them out at me and my dad. Tom, you will get to this other stuff too. I have a lot of personal questions I have to ask you off camera.
You had a good year, Spade. Don't lie.
No, I'm fine. Well, I did an HBO special years ago, and that really didn't affect stand-up because I wasn't doing it much. I was on Just Shoot Me and stuff, but I wasn't out that much, so I do the Improv in Irvine or San Diego or something, which is great. but I wasn't really making a lot of money in stand-up. And so I didn't really capitalize off it other than it made me more known in some way, you know.
I noticed with Tom on the Disgraceful one, where the audience gave you a standing ovation, that was the 2018. That seemed to be another giant leap.
Yeah, that propelled the next tour to. Each tour has gone like another level. I mean, the current tour was a huge leap from the 2019 tour.
I looked at it. It's kind of unfathomable.
I'm
globally,
coming everywhere.
Yeah,
all over the world. And but I think going for my own head, the theme idea. You are the message. Your likability and relatability, and you can see where the audience go, that's our guy, because you're going into territory where you're working completely clean, and then you'll also just surprise everybody and go wherever you want to go, and then you'll make it okay. I get your popularity. I've spent a day watching all your stuff, so
thanks.
I understand it.
You are politically incorrect, which I think in some of your stuff, which is a blessing,
but you don't lean on it.
Yeah, I think I don't know. There's this thing. I'm sure it's not anything new, but I just always tried to. I remember people saying early on, they're like, just the thing you have to do is say things that make you laugh. Like, don't go. Yeah. I wonder if people will like this, and I'll say it. Like, I try to stick to like genuinely this point of view makes me laugh. This story makes me laugh. If I think something is. I'm talking about like a societal norm is worthy of mockery. Then like, I feel like mocking this. So then I just do that, but I'm not doing it because I hope this audience likes it and this one won't. I try to stay honest to what makes me laugh.
And also when you walk out there and your whole physical demeanor and you're so relaxed. I mean, even Next Level and so comfortable. It's a living room. So if something doesn't land, you kind of smile like drowning the dog. It's not about, you'd have to, for people who are listening right now, it's a long story about loving his kid more than an animal. And then the way you just went places people don't expect. And so that's the antithesis of boredom. You don't know what Tom Segura is going to do.
And you can't see it coming. You don't want an act where you can see it coming and you go, and then he's going to say this and then that. But that is a hard thing to do, but like Dana was saying, you're out of the box a bit. So you're sort of underground, but famous. And then, and you make a ton of money more than most people that people know of that are, household names. And you've done it on your own terms. And also, I don't think you are as worried about getting canceled because what are they canceling you from? You're your own boss, your own podcast.
What am I going to get not hired to do?
Yeah, you're your own show. You have 54 podcasts. You have Dana. His tour is called "I'm Coming Everywhere." It's funniest name. I heard you talking about that, and I heard you talking about taking a private jet, which is hard to talk about, of course, but it is fun to talk about because you're right that in some of those instances, there's almost no way to get to where you got to go. Here's what I actually explained on a couple of podcasts was the fact that if you're touring as insanely as I'm talking about the logistically, I go, I don't have to charter a plane, but I go, what I would have to do is reduce this tour. Like there would be no way to go. Yeah. I'm doing Ottawa and then Spokane and then Eugene and then Boise. Like I go, well, you just can't do that if you're flying commercially. So we would just change the tour. Sure. I mean, it's what you want to do. And if you can factor it in and you're making enough, it's fine. It's really just all a numbers game. And if on my tour, I don't do it as hitting the pavement as hard as you. But when I do it, and I have 3 nights in a row, usually, if there's a connection involved, it's already a red flag because
that's a red flag.
With no one coming to work lately, COVID, canceled flights, you're like, I don't like going the day before every show because that's such a production. Then you're there all night, then all day again. So decisions have to be made, but it's obviously private jets perk people's ears because it's one of those things that even if you're rich, it's out of your league. Like it's such
an excess. It's such an indulgence. It is time travel. Like the thing that's crazy about it is you go, I can't believe the show ended and now we're in the next city and it's only been 2 hours. Like it feels like you teleported. The thing about it is you go, you know, like you don't have to do it. It does make a tour like this possible. I will say this, you know, we don't do it like every leg of this tour, every flight or anything. The times on this tour that we've done commercial travel, 90% of them have come with an issue, meaning like delays, cancellations. It has. So every time we do it, we're like, oh my God, we're so much more appreciative of when we have been able to charter, because it has screwed up almost every leg of travel that we've done with it, you know?
Oh yeah. You got to come in early then, because you can't trust commercial. Yeah. And so you have a job to do. I heard that early on when Louis C.K. first did a Citation 10, like, okay, I got to do this. And so we do 3 dates. So the first date would just pay for the jet and then do the next 2 dates. That's how different it is. And in terms of your health and wellness, when you're touring like you are, like more than 200 dates a year, the multiple flights in the hotel, you could beat the shit out of yourself. Like it's not.
It does. I mean, we do that travel, which obviously like makes it nicer. I bring a trainer with me, dude. I bring a trainer with me because it's trying to just keep your mental and physical health going. Yeah, it's fucking so demanding.
It's just not. It shouldn't be allowable if you have the means to have a trainer and eat well and actually do the tour and end up not hurting your health. You know, people kind of ignore that. But why am I doing this if I'm going to end up coming back home and have gained all this weight and have migraines or whatever? So I'm glad to hear that you're pacing it that way.
And I've done that, you know, like in my earlier years, my touring, which was not at this level, was me gaining 30 pounds in a year and feeling like shit all the time.
Because you're eating at every airport and eating, and you know, and if you can control that. Plus, you know, the bottom line is, for me, I'm sure you guys too, you owe the audience a good show and you need to be present. It's harder than it seems to sit there and do your hour or over an hour, whatever, and go. It's like a play. You have to remember all the connective tissue and everything, and it has to flow. And if you're out of it a little bit, sometimes you're missing beats and just off rhythm, and they pay the price. So they're paying a lot. They're coming out. They're getting babysitters. You're like, shit, I got to get there on time. I got to be ready. I got to look okay. And I think everyone feels that. So whatever it takes. Yeah, you got to try.
You got to try, man. And I always like, you know, I don't know if you ever do this, but like you're backstage and maybe you're worn out. You're just dragging. You're like, man, it's the fucking 7th show this week and 4th city. And I'm like, God damn it. And I'll be on my phone and I'll pull up. And this is like, I guess the upside to seeing a social media thing. I'll see things I'm tagged in, and you see people
in the audience. Yeah.
And then I see that and I'm like, oh man, they're like so pumped to be here. And it completely changes my mental state before I go. I'm like, you know what? These people are excited. I need to get excited. I need to like wake up and appreciate the fact that there's people here and like try to have a good show. But it's easy to fall into the other side, you know?
Yeah. I call it the forget to have fun problem. And if you forget to have fun and you're out there and it's not feeling right, and you go, oh, I forgot to have fun.
Do you have a trick? Do you have a, like, I used to like, I always say that the best version of myself as a comedian, and this is a very simple way of describing it, but I think it's that when I walk on stage in a silly mood, like me feeling silly is the best version of stand-up that I can be. But what I forget sometimes is to remind myself of that, and to like and I'll sometimes I'll see an image, and for me and my own memories, it's for some reason it's seeing Eddie Murphy in his early days, like in Delirious and stuff, because I feel like that's a fun, silly guy. So like if I see that image, I'll be like, oh, that guy's like having fun. He's having a good time. He's playful.
Yes.
So I always wonder like what other people do to switch into a different headspace. Do you ever do anything to like switch your headspace?
Well, the minute I come out, I probably make a fool of myself, but I put on Suspicious Minds normally by Elvis Presley, and that it seems so absurd and doesn't make any sense, and I'm coming out to that. I try to get into the absurdity of what I'm doing up there, but the first laugh kind of gets me going, you know. But I've got, in the olden days when you're first doing stand-up, you're going, God, I don't feel funny today. I don't feel very funny. You're very superstitious. And later on, you can be sick. You don't feel funny at all. And then have your best show. So you get used to it. But yeah.
Dane and I have a few questions about your podcast. You have your mom's house, correct? You have that's with your lovely wife.
With your lovely wife.
Yes, Christina P.
And who I know, and she's great. She was on Lights Out. Also, you have one with that guy. Who's that big guy?
Ooh, big guy. Oh, real heavy guy.
Flirt, hurt. Fleisner.
Flirt was fun. And you met him great. Years ago. And was that, you already had your first podcast? Was that going into doing a second one?
Yes. The funny thing was we talked about it and we threw it together. And I thought we came up with the idea to do it twice a month. I was like, why don't we do this twice a month just for fun?
Sure.
And, within a couple months, the feedback was like, people were so into it that we were like, all right, we got to do it every week. And now we do it every week. He has to fly here. I've flown to LA to do it. Yeah. If we can't get together, each one of us will sit with a guest to do it. But it's become a huge, huge podcast. And companies approach us and want us to be like their partners and things. And it's literally just the two of us just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
Mostly him just rambling incoherently about his nonsense.
Well, it's a good team. I mean, when he had Sober October, I saw that episode, and it was just I think long term, if things are funny, it's great. But then also, you're kind of feeling a real thing happening between two friends.
We're good friends. I mean, I got him. We've been getting each other crazy birthday gifts for years now. I just got him Hitler's teacup. And I got him a bust made of himself, and we always.
I saw one of those in Sky Mall. They have Hitler's, a lot of Hitler stuff.
This one I had to go through a white supremacist. It was a lot of work.
Can I ask you about the video aspect? So, did you always do it on video on YouTube, or did you ever do just an audio podcast?
Audio only for the first. Let's see, 2010, 11, 12.
Wow. Ooh.
13. And then we started to do video, just like we would put up 10 or 15 minutes. I don't know what that was. We did that in 2014. We were like, oh, here's 15 minutes of this.
Yeah.
From the show. And then we finally were like, we need to, we set up sticks and we got that going. And that eventually became a huge game changer. Having it on, having it on YouTube is like a huge.
Did you get the same amount of audio listens? And then you got the additional, or was it even more audio listens?
It's evolved in different ways. So audio was obviously the only thing. And then you throw in video, you start getting views, but the audio is much bigger. And it was also still, from an advertising perspective, they're like, audio downloads are all that matters. When the video views started to go above a certain amount, is when people were like, okay, we can't ignore the fact that there are hundreds of thousands of views on this thing.
It's like a TV show.
They're like, it's worth advertising on, is what it came down to. And then, you had to convince, some of the people were like, well, that's just the same people. And you're like, what do you talk? You think people are listening to episode and then going and watching a 2-hour thing? Like, what are you talking about? And that, they also would make the argument, well, we don't know how many, if you listen to a song on YouTube, if you watch the video of a song, you might watch it 6 times. They're like, what if people are doing that on your podcast? And you're like, you think they're rewatching this 2.5 hour podcast? So I would get in the shouting matches with advertising people about this, like actual shouting matches.
And you do it.
I was fucking yelling at these people.
Yeah.
And then the year fucking changes and they go, oh, hey, by the way, we wanted to inquire about advertising on the video portion. I'm like, yeah, you mean the thing I've been talking to you about for 2 years? And so that then became a thing that is highly valuable. And you just obviously you watch the bigger thing, you see a Rogan show when he was on YouTube. You're like, look, man, there's 10 million people watching this. You don't think that's worthy? That's all those eyeballs, man. And I think now if you start a podcast,
and the clips go out. Clips is a big thing.
clips is a huge thing. A lot of times, if you think about it, your fan base is going to consume the whole thing. Talking about the full like scope of people, most of them want to see a bite-sized thing. Like in our world here, we've had a number of clips go viral, but they're the clips, these like moments that blow up. But it would not have happened without video. Video is what took it over.
Yeah. And then you go into your ones I contacted you about when I heard that you were doing live shows. Such an interesting idea, and it was a huge success. And that was a pandemic was a smart move, and that was another game changer, right?
Kind of saved my ass, dude. Like, I mean, my main thing, I mean, obviously the podcast is a fixed thing, and you go, okay, we have ads and
roughly we'll make this much.
Yeah, everything associated with it. But you're like, I'm a touring comedian. And then when the pandemic hit and you're like, oh wait, there's none of this, like this is completely done. That was like, well, how do we do? And it was an experiment. My agent my touring agent was like, you should try this. I go, well, we have to figure out an angle. So we tried it and we're like, all right, we'll do $10 tickets. Like it's a reasonable price. And we'll show things that you can't show on YouTube, and we'll shoot some sketches. So we add some value to the show. Why? Like
that's the hard part, the value.
Yeah.
But then you go for $10, if you do 3 or 4 sketches and you show some stuff you can't see anywhere else, and you bring in a guest, and we had a musical guest, you're like, all right, this is like, it is a thing.
Yeah.
If this was a $10 ticket to walk into a venue, you'd be like, yeah, that's worth it. And that thing went fucking bananas. And so once we saw that, I told the because agents are always like, let's make it $20. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Well, I go, we keep it $10 tickets, and we just try to just try to do volume. And we started to do them like every 6 or 8 weeks or something, and spending over $100,000 producing the episode. So it's not just like, oh, hey, here's my friend. Yeah, we actually put money into making it a special event and into production.
Just for a second, Tom, because I'm curious about details. Where was you have 2 studios? Where were you interviewing Tarantino? Because I love that interview, which was just recently on Quentin Tarantino. Is that your studio right there? Okay.
Did you get to the part where he roasted me for not reading his book?
No. Did he?
I like that.
I was impressed with your knowledge of Pulp Fiction. I mean, there was a lot of Pulp Fiction.
I really was like, I was asking all the questions I want to ask Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
And he's there going like, I want to talk about this fucking book I wrote.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, hey, what page are you on? So I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh no. And he's kind of intimidating.
Oh yeah. And I was like, he goes, so you're on page 3? Is that what I'm getting out of this? And I was like,
if that. Dana, remember we did because we're talking about SNL this whole time. We did Quentin Tarantino's Welcome Back, Kotter, that sketch, and it was I got to play Horseshack. Oh, Mr. Kotter. And then it was, I guess John Travolta was the host, so he came in, and they shot up everyone. It was like a bloody sketch that got really bad really quick. But I don't think Quentin was on the show. I think it was only because it was John Travolta was on the show.
He was hanging out. He said, yeah.
Okay.
He really has that like savant level knowledge of cinema to the point where you're like, I mean, like he is citing, the composer from this movie in '63 and the actor who also appeared in the thing. You're like, dude, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but I like movies too.
I love movies, but yeah, he is the next level of next level. And the way you guys broke down that scene in Inglourious Bastards, the whole
I loved it.
American speaking German, that whole segment, and how he said a lot of times you'll see his scenes and there's a familiarity to them, but he's doing things and he's making them better than you've ever seen them done. And that was the case of it. And an original take on something we've seen. You know?
Yes, I love his movies. I love his movies.
Yeah, me too.
Wait
I was hosting Jimmy Kimmel, and he came out, and I couldn't help it. I go, I love you. I was just like, I said, because I know you through your choices in your movies, and I just appreciate your sense of humor. You know?
Yeah, so funny.
May I have another glass of your delicious milk? Christoph Waltz and Glorious Bastards.
Yeah, so good.
Listen, Tom's a Cincinnati native. I'm wrapping him up. Watch this, Dana.
Let me see.
My parents went to Denison, which is a college near Cincinnati. Or did you not know that? Don't Tarantino me. Denison is where they both went. You're not lighting up enough about that. You are part Cajun. Cajun man is from Cajun. You overdosed on GHB at 19.
Why is that
short
in here?
coma? Short coma.
Yeah.
A coma's terrifying.
It was 25 years ago last week. It was the day after Thanksgiving, 25 years ago. You know, it was the first time I was a freshman in college. I got together with all the people who are like back, you know, you're back home for the first time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I just was on a tear that night and I was drinking, and I used to do GHB a lot. And the number one rule, they were like, you do not mix this with alcohol. That was the number one rule. They're like, and I drank like 10, 12, screwdrivers. And then I just took a massive dose of it.
Oh,
but you lived. You also were last comic standing. And my quick question is that the kind where you lived in the house?
I never made it. I showcased on TV on the show, but they just showed me for like a second. I didn't get passed on, even though I would not really. I'll just say that was some bullshit. They were just casting that show.
Who won, and then who did you say when they won? They suck. They're dog shit.
I don't remember anybody I showcased with. I mean, it was all like we were all unknowns.
Oh yeah.
They literally were like, "Oh, put the short, chubby girl, get that tall Indian guy."
Yeah.
Like it was just casting.
Yeah.
Someone sent me an Instagram of you doing your bit where you end up yelling bikes because they knew I was going to interview you, and let's do it. It was hysterical. That whole piece is like just
that. That is funny to me. That I mean, everybody has like their most known bit, and for sure for me, it is bikes.
Yeah, scared straight. Yeah, little kids going to prison and getting browbeat by
every day of my life. They yell bikes.
Scared straight.
Do you actually do stand up in Spanish?
Yes, I was supposed to do a special in Spanish, and then I started touring in Spanish. Because they were like, do a special. I was like, well, I gotta like work it out, man.
Wow, hard.
If we're doing it in English, I do the show 200 times. I gotta at least do 50, in Spanish. And I probably did 6 weekends in Spanish. I did, a Texas weekend. I did like Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. I did Tempe. I did San Jose. And then the pandemic kind of just changed everything because that was when I was like gearing up for it. Mm-hmm. And then by the time that resolved itself, it was like the English tour was coming back, and it was too much to try to do both.
Well, let me ask you a question. If the English language has certain rhythms that comedians use, so she blew me or whatever, so bump, bump, bump. Do you have to adjust when you're doing the rhythms of Spanish?
I actually remember I did this show with Richard Villa. This is a very funny comedian who's bilingual, Mexican American, and he was like, dude, he's like, you realize you're doing exactly Tom Segura that we know in English. He's like, you don't have to change anything. You're delivering exactly as you do in Spanish. And he was like, so you don't have to like mess with anything.
He said she's a hot chick. She's caliente, or
he.
But caliente is hot, right?
Oh, you're talking about if I'm saying it.
Saying it in Spanish, the syllables are more, and does that affect the rhythm?
But I'm saying the delivery, you can keep your delivery authentic.
Yeah, got it.
Because you hear singers.
Culture you learn, which is like some like they like innuendo, and they really like a wink and a nod. Some cultures do, which I was like, I don't want to do that. And they're like, watch, and you just see how much they love the double meaning, the double and that stuff. But I just didn't make it part of my act. I saw that like some audiences really like that, but I was like, I'm not going to embrace doing a different style.
Mm-hmm. So your brain because I'm not bilingual. You have your brain and you have your bit in your head, and you just adjust it, and then you're just doing it all in Spanish.
Yeah, you start figuring out. At first, your brain goes, translate this exactly, and that actually leads you into a place where you have gaps and there's things not getting laughs.
Okay.
Then what you have to do is you have to slow down and just start talking. And stop trying to translate exactly.
Yeah.
And that's when it starts to work more. And then you actually start writing in Spanish. And that's when it goes the best, is because you're not actually trying to make this thing work over here that worked over there. You're just creating for them.
Okay. So that makes sense to me. It's a beautiful language. I'm constantly trying to speak Spanish.
It's very hard
to people who work.
It was it was so much more work than I imagined. And I would say that the kind of cool thing is that I had not been that nervous to do stand-up in over a decade. In other words, I get, in English, sure, I get butterflies. You're like, you're about to go on stage and you might have some nerves. But the way that I would feel before I went on stage for these Spanish shows was like year 2 of stand-up. So that was exciting because I was in a full panic of like, I might fuck this up. I might bomb. I might not. Like, that was kind of exciting. I was like, man, I never feel like this in English anymore.
Did the audience knows you're doing that? It's so-called your second language, your other language. Were they just, did you get a standing ovation just for the sheer effort of it?
Sometimes, yes. Yeah, they would be. And you'd see a lot of like fans of mine who are bilingual, like they're the children of immigrants. And so they're fans of me in English. They hear I'm doing the Spanish show and they're bringing their parents.
Because they understand. Yeah.
That would be happening too. That was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Well, Tom, thank you.
Well, that's all I wanted. I checked off all my questions.
Yeah.
Let me just say, Dana, it was an honor.
Yes, Tom, thank you so much. I don't know who that other guy was, but he seems really funny.
I was on Tom's podcast and we had a great time.
We did have a great time.
It was a blast, actually. And
I just want to say our guest today was Tom Segura, a funny young man. I can actually do a stand-up in Spanish or English. Did you know that, Ed? Muy bueno. Is that it?
Is that weird?
That's weird, wild stuff.
I was just doing that for your 14-year-old self, your 14-year-old.
That was awesome, man.
Oh,
Thanks,
good.
Tom.
Will you guys, anytime you want to charter out here and podcast, we would love to have you,
Oh, I'll definitely come out.
You bought a steak one night in Austin.
That was good.
Took
I
care
want
of
to be
us.
in that. I want to sit where Tarantino sat.
Listen, you have an open invite.
Yeah, that was. I did get chills when he kind of challenged you on the book. That would be intimidating. He's got so much energy and so much knowledge. He's such a funny, interesting character to listen to about film, man. But that shows you. I had him on Kimmel, and you have 3 minutes commercial break. I was the guest host, and then you sit there for an hour and really get into stuff. So podcasting is an extraordinary, for me, new development in the way of being authentic, and it's so much cooler and more fun than the band and the audience, which is great too. It's a big rock and roll moment, but it's like 3 minutes in, you got to get to a commercial and stuff. This is awesome. So anyway,
come out to Austin, man.
I will. There's a nonstop direct if I don't fly.
Yeah,
private.
Go, Dana. Stop being like this.
I will go out and do it if we can have a dinner afterwards, because I kind of want to pick your brain about what you know, because I still am trying to learn this whole world, analytics and stuff. And
I feel like we just set a date.
Yeah, we sort of did. Yeah.
Yeah, I can eat anything, So you're fit now. We get your trainer, your chef, maybe cooks, and we just eat on the set. Or
we can't go to that meat store we went to.
2018 is when you came out for that special, and you'd lost weight and you had a cool jacket. You kind of were a rock star. That it switched there a little bit,
Yeah, and then the special 2 years later, I gained 20 pounds back.
Did you really? I didn't notice on the final one. Really?
On Ball Hog, I definitely gained about 20 pounds. 3 weeks ago, I shot a new special.
God damn, relax.
I was just so thankful that I weighed less than I've ever weighed in a special.
That's all. You don't have any jokes. You're like in a mirror, just like, check this out, guy.
But I think it's kind of nice if you can have a nice family and make a lot of money and be creatively fulfilled, and then also be really healthy and feel comfortable walking around on the planet. It's kind of a nice feeling. So David, just a little pointer. All right.
I feel
Tom,
good and light. Bye, Tom.
Thanks for all the time, Tom.
Bye, guys.
This has been a podcast presentation of Cadence 13. Please listen, then rate, review, and follow all episodes. Available now for free wherever you get your podcast.
No joke, folks. Fly on the Wall has been a presentation of Cadence 13. Executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Chris Corcoran of Cadence 13, and Charlie Finan of Brillstein Entertainment.
The show's lead producer is Greg Holtzman with production and engineering support from Serena Regan and Chris Basil of Cadence 13. This episode of Superfly is presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto do-it-yourself. You can find what you need in their store or online at O'ReillyAuto.com. Superfly. I'm going to zhuzh up the background soon, everyone. Just so you know, it's not going to be, it might be green, but I'm going to put some stuff up. You know, I should put a shelf, put some cool things. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Because when I watch a podcast, I'm really looking at the background.
we both have the literally worst ones. But
Well, I have the most benign. It's like it looks like a set of nothingness. There is nothing.
it would be better if it was a fake green screen of just that.
Yes, at one point I just go like this,
Carvey,
and it's a part of a curtain.
We'll
Yeah.
get you your Carvey sign to match my Spade one back there. And
Okay.
maybe I'll put my tour dates. Oh, yeah, tour dates,
Tour dates.
davidspade.com.
We
Where
got
am I going,
tour
Heather?
dates.
Yell out cities. Boston, New Jersey.
Boston. You don't do it because it's easy. You do it because it's
Yeah,
hard.
da, da.
Boston next.
Des Moines is almost sold out. I think.
Des Moines is.
Might have to add a show in Des Moines. I don't know if we're going to
I
add
played the county fair there.
one. You know, I don't like adding shows. I like to just do it, fill it up, and then just come back on the next round and do it again. I don't.
Right. They add one, and then you have that second show where it's a little sparse and it's kind of a what? Womp, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, sometimes they fill up the second one.
So
I'm doing ABQ, Albuquerque.
Albuquerque, okay.
Portland, I've
Up
done a lot.
5,000 feet.
And Portland has a lot of. I've been there the most, but they always have a good crowd. They always show up. So
What is it? The Albert Schneitzer Theater? Is that?
I think
where
it's the
you-
Albert Schneitzer Hall.
I played that years ago. Yeah, I never forgot the name. I could never pronounce it, but the Albert
Arlene Schnitzer,
Arlene Schnitzer Theater.
something like that.
That's why the audiences are good because their expectations are so low going in there with a name like
Schnitzer.
that.
Oh, Omaha gets
Omaha.
a shout out. Yeah.
Try to get some new insurance when you're out at Omaha. That's the
Try to get some.
health
steaks.
insurance capital of the world.
They must have been so stoked when Peyton Manning was like, Omaha, Omaha.
Oh,
Remember
Peyton
that?
Manning, football player, doing audibles. Omaha.
What's your,
Omaha? Omaha.
Give me some of your week before we get into the hard hitting
Okay.
stories.
Went to LA, my wife and I flew to Sun Valley.
Okay.
I'm not the happiest flyer, but it was nice. It was one of those kind of smaller planes, maybe a 40-seater. I don't know how Kevin Nealon would have done in this thing. I mean, I hit my head constantly. Just
Oh,
so-
you hit your head. And Kevin
yeah,
Nealon's
I'm hitting my
9'9".
head. I'm Land of the Giants in this thing. And then if you come into Sun Valley, I'm kind of like, okay, it's kind of tight. We're going to make a turn. I'm not really. I look out and it's like, whoa, what? I mean, it literally. I couldn't exaggerate how close the mountains were. Have you ever flown in there? You could
Yeah,
count.
I always think, do you guys know what you're doing?
Well, I found out later, and I'm not saying the airline or whatever. The flight attendant said, "Well, they probably don't want me to tell you, but they have to have special training to be able to fly into Sun Valley. So you get extra training. So they get in
Shit.
some simulator. So we got shitbox hills on both sides. We'll try to snake through. That's right, Clem. Pass.
Dude, terrifying. It's like Aspen is a little scary.
So it's 6,000 feet. You feel a little funny, unless you hydrate.
Oh, you get sick. Yeah, a little altitude. Yeah.
I do the gig. I do 3 or 4 meet and greets. A mix and mingle is different than a meet and greet.
Grip it and rip it. What is it called? A grab and grip or something?
A grip and grin.
Grip and grin.
It's fine.
Hey.
It's part of the thing. Everyone's
Carvey.
incredibly nice. Everyone is all ruddy faced, and they look like they're about to
Ruddy faced.
Well, they're just sort of they're in puffer jackets and boots tucked in, and they're ready to ski.
It's like a nice area. Am I crazy?
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous, and we had the flight was until 5, and we stayed there. We weren't really thinking about anything, so we'll pick you up at 3. 15 minutes to noon, they say, hello, it's the front desk. We need you out by noon. We need you out in 15 minutes. We got stuff
out of your room.
Yeah, get out. I go,
get
well,
fucked.
What do I get out now? I mean, stuff was, we were ready to gathered up, but then our contact person bought us 2 hours so we could get out at 2. So we went down to have lunch. And I don't want to exaggerate how mellow this waiter was, but he literally, he took our order and he's about 7 feet away. I'm like, I'm about to fly. So I'm like, could I have a beer? And he goes, yeah. He didn't even say yes. He just, no. About, I don't know, gummies or just so mellow at altitude.
Gummies.
He's like, what kind? I go, I don't know. Stella Artois. I'll check. So then 10 minutes later, it comes back. We don't have that. Well, I'll take anything. What do you got? You got this? He goes, let me go check. So he's gone another 10 minutes. He comes back. Then he's like, I go, do you have like Coors Light or something? I think so. So anyway, it took 40 minutes, but he's a very nice guy. But yeah, he was mellow.
Yeah. I did a flight where 2 things that bother me now. One is
good.
Do you ever get the window shade doesn't go down and you need a ball peen hammer? I'm like, it's like to put it up. Plus, with my weakling neck, I'm like, trying to, military it straight up, and then dish, and then
dish
for that, because it just goes up like a 1/4 inch every time. I'm like, I can't spend this much effort and energy just to be blinded by the glare. And then the pilot does this bullshit. I don't know if you noticed this. You get on and you're just sitting there. And they go, well, we got everybody on. We're about to push off. Just waiting for a little bit of paperwork from the flight attendant. I'm like, paperwork? Are we? Do you have a briefcase? Who has physical paperwork? He's like, we're just waiting for a Xerox copy of a couple things. And then, does anyone out there have a printer? I'm like, what are we talking about? Does anyone email you anything?
Yeah. Jesus, you're going to be fuffling with envelopes when you're going to be getting on the joystick to get us vertical. Okay?
Yeah, you got to collate some documents first. I mean,
I'll tell you.
What?
Yeah.
Who comes in like a mechanic? Like, if you could just initial here, press hard, 4 copies.
Oh, they do sometimes. They have to sign off on the plane. And the technicians are coming in and out. They got big orange jackets on. They're coming out of the cockpit and they're shaking their heads. And we had some technical issues. And it is just that some idiot in the back couldn't get the window up. It's usually like a tiny thing, like as a beverage cart has a stray wheel. But here's 2 things. I didn't want to be a silly senior. During the flight, it's like, okay, you press a button and then the thing comes over, the tray. And so this particular plane I'd never been on, you press the button and it folds out from inside and then you have a tray. So everything.
Oh, easy?
But everything I tried, the tray didn't come out. But I said, I didn't want to ask for help. Okay, I'll press down.
Not you.
I'll press here. So flight attendant 27 right out of Utah State. All right, let me get that for you, sir. Press the button. Boom. The other one that bugged me, now that you remind me, is he goes, well, it's a one plane in, 1 plane out. So we're going to have to wait a little bit. Unless something happens. It said flight attendant said, take your seats. We can go now. So everything is a little intense.
There you go. Just take a time, relax. We got a window. Let's go. Everybody shut up.
Exactly. We're 4th in the lineup here, but if everybody seats so anyway.
Oh fuck, they moved us. Go, scramble.
Go.
Yeah. One guy goes, we were gonna wait an hour. We get to go now. I'm like, we were gonna wait an hour? I didn't know that.
So I did my rodeo shtick because the flight attendant, I could shake her hand.
Yeah.
That's how small the plane was. So I did my rodeo star. I'll go back here on an airplane.
Yeah.
So I loosen the seatbelt as far as I can. I grab the
Yep.
edge of it and I say to her, rodeo guy on an airplane. And I go like this,
And you zip it tighter though.
I
It
zip
goes a
it
little
super
tighter.
tight as if he's on a horse.
Yeah, that's good. I saw
Or-
that.
Yeah. So she loved it.
I saw that live when we flew to our gig.
I did it. Yeah, I do. I have plain shtick.
You got some shtick. We had some solid shtick. I don't have any more great stories, but should we introduce Pete? We'll talk about Tommy Boy anniversary real quick.
Oh
Right.
yeah, the one last thing. Our car got robbed at LAX.
Oh, wait a second. This is a headline.
Well, we decided, fuck it, let's go old school. We had a lot of time. All right, let's drive the airport, man. So
God, what a horrible idea.
LAX. So first of all, it's like, is it fucking east, west, north, or south? So we're suddenly going around a roundabout. We're heading away from the airport.
Yeah, you stupid idiots.
That's where the control tower is, and it's getting smaller. So
Yeah.
let's go with you. And then we get up on top. We park the car, and when we come back to the car, we know what the fuck. So it looks like ramshackle inside. So we open it up. I had a mini iPad there. They didn't take it. What they did was they left a big red canvas bag in the front seat. Left it.
And I
It's
said,
called
just fucking Clue.
Jeez.
Fair.
I know. We went down
Dusted
there
for Prince.
and we saw the two, whatever airport police people. There's no way they're going to bust anyone. They were
don't give a
smoking
shit.
weed down by the machine. Yeah, man. I mean, so anyway, we got rid of the red canvas bag. We got out of there, but that was strange. And we know why it happened, because it was my wife's car. My car, if you walk away, it locks. Her car, you have to put your hand on the handle. So I went back for something, and long story short,
Oh, you didn't. It's
we
your
made it
fault.
home safely, and now we're here now.
Well, I like these, things that happen in real life. That's a tough one. I would get so infuriated if that happened.
It gets a weird feeling, like someone got into our car and was shuffling through it, trying to get stuff.
Someone fucked with you. It feels like bullying. It feels like shit. And of course, no one does anything. And then if you go to the police, they go, in LA, of course, like, you know what you should do is put a cage under your car so people can't get under and get your catalytic converter. And you know what else you should do is you should put more locks. I'm like, how about throw criminals in jail? They're like, no, that's where we draw the line. But
We have a plan. We're working on it, but right now we don't really. That's not our thing.
yeah,
we
the
don't
criminals in
prosecute.
jail,
Mm.
the fucking good guys being the victim. It's like the good guys are the ones they go after now. I don't know. Because I just saw in England, it was one of our stories coming up, is like, it's bad when everyone's carrying a machete. And now, they're carrying a lot of machetes. Now machetes are illegal to carry around the streets. When was that okay? If I saw someone with a machete, I'd shit my pants. And so many people are walking with machetes to rob people and hack people and on the streets that they go, okay, it was fun for a while, but ixnay on the machetes. So isn't that crazy?
A machete, the name of it and the strength of it, it's a fucking
Scary.
sword. You're walking around with a sword. You can behead someone in a second. I knew someone, Francis Cronin. He was in the Irish Army, in the UN, in Africa.
Francis.
And when you would
okay.
talk, he'd go into the town, you'd talk to townspeople. Most of the time, the dudes had a machete just in their hand, just walking
It would
around.
make me
a little,
give me anxiety.
yeah.
Because
Mhm.
what are you doing with a machete? Even a knife is bad, but a machete means real biz. Like I'm up
Yeah.
to really no good.
What I would do is have a fully loaded bazooka and just be holding
Uh-huh.
that and just chatting like,
Go
I don't know,
what?
partly cloudy tomorrow.
What?
I'm not sure what's up, but
Yeah, well,
who could do the sound effects of a bazooka going off?
rack it in there and
Well,
then
now you're getting ready.
no, it would be louder than that. Slow motion.
Well,
Just the reverb
there
from the
you go.
thing.
The kick. There's that. And then it comes in.
But dude, machete, you don't have to be a pro. You just start swinging that thing and you're going to cause some damage.
I know. So I'm glad that England's
All right.
come to
If
their
we-
senses.
Okay, when we come back from this Pete Siegel interview, We're
Oh,
going
yeah.
to show the stories about Machete just to show it's not made up.
Yep.
Okay, so Pete Siegel, my director from Tommy Boy. It's the anniversary of Tommy Boy.
Mhm.
So we wanted to talk about it today.
Yep.
And I hear about it maybe every day of my life.
Yeah.
And
Classic.
let's go to Pete. We chatted with him about all things trivia Tommy Boy, and we'll be right back with it. We'll come back after.
This next segment is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts, the professional parts people. Welcome to our special edition.
Yeah, welcome to our special edition of Superfly with a spin on Tommy Boy, the anniversary, which I don't like to say what anniversary it is, but it's a lot.
It's a while back, but
Number 30.
and we have the
Well, I didn't take long.
the director of the movie is actually talking with us. So
Yes, this is Pete Siegel, who had a huge hand in making Tommy Boy a hit. And
thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
yes, we are excited to have you.
Yeah.
The funny thing about Tommy Boy is I keep reading different stories about it because, you know, it's the anniversary, so more things pop out. You and I probably are in charge of some of these stories. But there's just so many. I wanted you to tell Dana first, and then we'll get into you just saying anything you want about it, was when you got hired, the hiring process, because I remember it got a little sticky.
Well, I had worked with Farley twice before Tommy Boy. Once on an HBO special I did with Judd Apatow, and then on a sitcom, The Jackie Thomas Show, which was sort of a loose spinoff of Roseanne. And so I just knew him from those things, and I just thought, gosh, you know, if I ever got to direct a movie, I would love to do his first starring role. And then about a year later, I get this script on my desk. I had then gone on to make my first movie, Naked Gun, the last one,
Oh, cool.
and got this script called Billy the Third, a Midwestern. And I didn't really know anything about the process. I've learned a lot over the years since then, how that script got to me. And I said to Lauren, I said, I've got a lot of notes because I love these guys, but the story is kind of wonky. And he said, well, just, you know, go in and tell the Turners what you think. And I said, do I hold back? He goes, no, just go in, everything.
Pretty good.
The
Laura.
writers, the Turners.
So I went in and just, you know, pew, 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 guns ablazing, notes. And they looked at me, blank expressions, and it was bye-bye. And so I left, and that was it. And then I thought, okay, well, I guess I blew that one. Weeks went by, weeks and weeks, and I get this, and I think I checked with my agent, hey, have they hired anybody yet? Oh, they're still looking. I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe some other people are feeling the same way. So I get a call then from Sherry. She said, I want you to come back in and tell me everything that you told Terry and Bonnie. I want to hear it myself.
The head of Paramount. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, Sherry Lansing.
Yeah.
So I thought, I feel like Honey on the Causeway. You know, I'm all alone. So I went in, I hit that hallway, that long hallway to her office, and the door opened like she knew I was coming, and just arms out, honey. And she, you know, the hook, line, and sinker, they were in. Well, they were also desperate. They'd, you know, blown the hiatus. They desperately needed someone to come on.
Right.
And so that's how I got it. That was part one. This is a long story, so I'll just stop.
I like when it gets a little ugly.
The time frame is the hiatus because of
is the summer
SNL,
hiatus from
yeah.
SNL.
Yeah. So there's a time problem.
We have a window.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we blew that window. And what that means is now Dave and Chris are going to be having to fly back and forth, doing Saturday Night Live and shooting a movie in Toronto at the same time.
Oh, right. This is bad.
They could do it.
So then, you know, and it made the movie more expensive too, because it, you know, what could have taken, 30 days was now going to take 45 days because we only shot 3 days a week with the guys.
And did you stay in Toronto and just chill and maybe try to do pickup shots or anything you could without us?
Yeah. I remember one time, with Farley especially, no one could double him, so he had to do all his own stunts because he was a better athlete than any of the stunt guys his size. But one day
For sure.
I had to shoot a shot of Tommy Callahan walking away from the funeral down this, row of beautiful fall foliage. And I used his double. Chris hated it because he said, that's not how I walk. No more of that. I'm going to do every single shot. I'm like, okay, well, then we're just sit here and wait.
Who was this guy? Danny? What is it? Remember his stuntman? I think he used him a lot.
I don't remember.
Mine was Danny. His was
probably a great stuntman, by the way.
Yeah, great stuntman. The walking is a good inside baseball thing to talk about because actors get very particular about that.
Yeah.
Well, first time I went to, I think Chris was new to the show, went to an SNL party. We're out on the sidewalk. Hey, lady, whatever he does. And then he just jumps up in the air and just flies on his back on the cement. So this guy was a stunt. I mean, who's going to
show off for you?
He could really throw his body around, obviously.
And he probably got hurt quite a bit. Well, Dave, you tell him about the 2x4.
The 2x4 at the dinosaur place, prehistoric forest. Yeah. Well, I don't really remember this except remembering on the day of they take it, they score it. So they take a 2x4. Part of it's supposed to break easy and it's made of balsa wood, maybe.
Yeah. With like the little rubber padding on one edge.
Yeah. You know how it is, Dana. So, but I'm supposed to hit him in the face. We start a fight, which is a funny scene. We have this huge fight. But he sticks his head out to get hit. And of course, it's not an exact science, but I swing. And I don't know if it didn't break or did break, but Pete, you might know more, but I definitely hurt him a little bit on those because even if you get hit by an egg carton empty, it still hurts if someone's swinging it at you. Try not to hurt the guy, but it's almost impossible. They didn't have it perfected. You finished that one.
No, I think you hit him with the hard part of the 2x4. Yeah. And yes, it broke and he went down and, that must have stung.
He wasn't happy.
Yeah. Well, he was very good at taking hits. And also no one else knows how hard he's getting hit. You can't tell. And that was obviously a problem. And, but he just gets up. So probably stage 5 concussion, should have been choppered out of there. But when he doesn't want to show any weakness and he wants to show he's a pro and he wants to always get hit and fall down and show that, look, this doesn't bother me. And that's a pro, but it's also tough because these days there's probably more scrutiny on it. But, we're running sort of a ragtag mission out there and we didn't really know. I don't think Pete knew. We just, it's just, you go back and I think, remember one time when the coat didn't rip when he was doing Fat Guy in a Little Coat and he's screaming because I saw this on some outtakes lately.
Yeah.
They made it too tight and he's trying to rip it. It's really hard to rip a regular coat without being scored and cut in the back. So he's screaming and he gets mad because he's like putting everything into it every take. That's the hard part.
No risk.
Could I just have a question going back a little bit because I want you as a director and just in the broad strokes without laying claim, but just what was besides whatever the story was, the first draft, because you got, the first draft people just kind of throw it out there. What was besides the specific notes, what was missing and what did you capture? Because obviously the movie is now a classic comedy. I mean, it's the movie. And so can you remember like the core things you were trying to figure out with that script?
Yes. Originally, I think Lorne had pitched the show. Obviously, this was a vehicle for Dave and Chris. But the story had a lot of the Rob Lowe character in it. And he was a lot more integral in that story. And as a matter of fact, it was more about them being stepbrothers. And I thought, I don't think that's the story. I think the story is about the two guys who do not get along at Callahan, who have to work together and save the factory and save the town. And I also thought that there was, another story between a father and son. And I knew that was very important to Chris because he had a very close relationship with his dad. And so those two things unraveled, what we had in the first draft from the Turners. And then
who are great writers, by the way.
They're great writers. They're great writers. I just had a different take. Mm-hmm. And then Lorne said, okay, I'm going to send you out, some help. And he sent out Jim Downey and Fred Wolf. And Downey came out. He had apparently just fallen in some poison ivy and he was
Perfect.
Falling into a vat of poison.
his face was caked with calamine lotion, but like dried up, kind of peeling. And he came out and we
It's a
talked
good look.
for like a week. We had lunches and I heard stories. And then, after a week, I was starting to panic because this was the week that the script was going to be saved.
You mean you're just talking, but nothing's being
That's
written?
how Downey writes. He talks
Nothing
about
was
everything
being written.
else in the back of his giant brain. Things are happening.
Yeah.
And then finally on Friday, they were going to catch a plane to go back to New York. I said, so what about this? And I held up the script. He goes, I can't help you with that. I can't.
He was there for a week.
Fucking Downey, I love
And
it.
then I remembered walking, in the parking lot at Paramount, and I told Fred, I said, dude, you guys were my lifesaver. That was a swing and a miss. I'm out. And so I quit.
So you quit.
Oh, listen to this.
Oh, yeah.
And this is Fred Wolf now.
I was telling Fred because, he's my pal. I knew him from before this.
Hey, you're really good. That's really funny. No, you're
Hey,
seriously.
I
You're
just want
great.
to tell you something, Pete. I'm going to talk about Dana in a minute, but I want to talk to you.
No, seriously, Petey. Anyway, we love Fred.
Fred.
Go ahead. So you quit.
I
Then what
quit
happened?
on a Friday, and on a Sunday, you wanted ugly, Dave.
Yeah.
I'll give you ugly. So
So I heard.
Sunday, I get phone rings, and my wife answers it, and then she covers it and says, "It's Sherry."
Oof.
Sherry Lansing. And apparently this wasn't the first time that she used this method, but she said, I have a team of attorneys speeding to the studio right now to strategize how to sue you for tens of millions of dollars and to take your home from you. And I said, have you seen my home?
Have you been to the home?
And then I
It's
said,
on wheels. You can just pull it.
yeah. I said, checkmate. Fine, I'll go, but this is going to be a disaster. And she said, honey, I know you're going to make it great. And I have to say, she, all these years later, she was so responsible for helping us keep this thing together. And here we are talking about it 30 years later. I credit her.
It seemed like it was a natural thing because of the history of like Laurel and Hardy and, sort of Chris, which we can talk about more about being sort of quintessential as far as a big comedian and throwing his body around. And then David and them being at that very close friends, the chemistry, it's the comedy team. It's Wayne and Garth, it's Abbott and Costello. So I think focusing on that obviously worked beautifully. And you had Rob Lowe and you had the other stuff, but
and
Brian Dennehy got that in.
Brian Dennehy's so solid.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Derek, great in the movie.
But the interesting thing is Chris was obviously hilarious on his own, but Dave, you were the engine, to that machine of the two of you. You had to be, you would pitch and he would hit and he would knock it out of the park, but those balls wouldn't be flying anywhere if it wasn't for you getting under his skin, and getting that out of him,
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, those kind of movies, it is obviously could not be done without Chris. I think there's people that could have played my part, but I lucked into it, and it was really fun to figure it out as we went, and all of us up there, and just taking a movie about brake pads, and trying to make it funny because that's the original. That's the movie.
Two losers with a dream, or it's just always a likable motif for a comedy film. They're on their adventure. They're trying to make it, but the likability.
I remember seeing it.
Huge.
Dana, when we're doing it out of sequence, obviously we're flying back and forth. I'm getting skinnier, he's getting fatter. And
probably true.
we both feel sick and tired and the whole time. And so when it's all over, we know that scenes are funny, but we don't know how the movie's going to be. That's the problem with shooting out of sequence, which if people know, that's pretty much every single movie. You could shoot the finale the first day. You don't really even know what your characters are like, or you're not really gelled into it, but that's the hard part. So it's up to Pete to put it together. And so Pete, and also Bill Kerr, the editor, but Pete's putting together these driving shots, adds some music, just makes it all make sense. And the way he shot it, we can't tell because I don't know if we had playback back then.
We did, but
yeah. Maybe we weren't the ones to watch playback. You know what I mean? It was sort of up to Pete, but the point is he made it all flow, all added so much more. So when you see it, yes, it's funny performances, but everybody cannot. There's so many people that cannot drop the ball. The editor can't. Pete can't.
Yeah.
We can't. And if you get it all right, you've been in a couple of those that when it works, it's so hard to get it right.
Director's medium, and landing the pathos on the boat at the end. That's unique, where it doesn't come off forced. It really comes off like, whoa, that hits you. We all know the feeling of running late and then inevitably running into car problems. It happens to all of us.
Yeah, but thankfully, O'Reilly Auto Parts, as you know, O'Reilly Auto Parts, you're welcome. These guys have all the parts. They have everything you need for do-it-yourself stuff. Like, let's say I'm driving, raining, windshield wipers giving up. And then they're on intermittent, which I don't know. I think they're off. And then it's barely wet, barely. And it goes, ah. That's when you're driving a half hour later. You're like, are these still on? So I had mine break. But they weren't, they were just messing things up. They weren't cleaning it. So I had to go in, get some more. They tell you how to slide them on. It's not that hard. Folks at O'Reilly, they know what they're doing. Got thousands of parts in stock. If you're in a jam, stranded in a parking lot with bad windshield wipers like me or a dead battery, they'll test it for free. All right. And if it's toast, they go replace it.
Windshield wipers, brake lights, random car noises that make you nervous. Yep. They've got you covered. Even if you have zero clue what you're doing, the team at O'Reilly won't judge.
They don't judge. They just go, are you a novice? And I don't know what that means. So I go, yeah, I think so. So whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, O'Reilly Auto Parts is a place to go. Find what you need in-store or at O'ReillyAuto.com before your car decides to quit on you again.
Well, we had, when we started filming, only 66 pages. Because
I think I remember that.
we started over. That's
a little wispy,
a little light in the loafers.
That's just so we can start. We have we have to have a fake reason to go.
Exactly.
Shoot something while they're writing or whatever.
Yeah. And so the fact that you guys were at SNL gave Fred and me extra time to work on the script. And so as we were going, it was so exhausting because of this pressure of laying the train tracks out in front of the locomotive every day. That we did not know how the story was going to end. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then Fred came up with a miracle scene, the scene where the guys are walking with Dan Aykroyd in the factory and the test dummies and all that. And that came in. And suddenly I thought, oh, okay, I see how the story can end, but how can we wrap this up emotionally? And I always had this idea of Tommy talking to the spirit of his father up in this water tower that we built that we never actually used in the movie. And it was kind of corny and it didn't work, what I was thinking. And so we're kind of stuck on we called in this writer named Len Blum who had written Stripes.
Stripes. Yeah.
And I said, dude, I don't know how to end this movie emotionally. And he said, let me take a look at the footage. And he saw the sailboat scene earlier after the funeral. And he said, well, why don't you just revisit that? And that's where he can be talking to the spirit of his father, and the answer will be the wind,
Tearjerker.
Yeah.
No, it landed.
That was it.
Yeah. Well, I just inside baseball, people would like it. Like when you first assembled and you do a test screening and you get cards back. What was the first test screening like? What was the range of the scores?
I think the highest score we got was an 82. So we started in the 70s. But one thing, because I had just come from Naked Gun, and the Zucker brothers learned from the Marx brothers, who rehearsed all of their movies in dinner theaters so that by the time they got to the set, their material was tight and they knew what worked in front of a crowd and what didn't. That saved them. What the Zuckers did is they started recording the audiences sound-wise so that if you say, well, that got a big laugh, and then, David, if you were there, said, it got kind of a medium. Well, let's go to the tape. It was empirical.
Okay. That's
but then what we did, I had just been given, a Sony Handycam for Christmas, and it had that night vision. And so I said, hey, I got an idea. Why don't we hide this under the screen and so we can see the crowd, and that'll help us shape the movie. That was the first time night vision was ever used.
Interesting.
And now it's standard.
Oh, okay. So you see the crowd,
Sure,
you see
yeah.
the laughs, and then you're going to do a re-edit based on.
If they don't laugh, you cut it out, and then if you see them shifting in their seats, they're bored. Look at what are we doing that's going slowly here.
And what was David Spade's biggest laugh of the movie?
Pete, I have to say that if I can remember back those old screenings, I think maybe the one that tested the highest was the deer smashing the car and us watching. Maybe. But over time, it is not the number one thing that is brought up.
No.
And what is?
I mean, you know what happens over time when people see it 5, 10, 20 times? It's throwaway jokes.
Yeah.
That they remember. I mean, from Stripes, from all these old movies you picture.
It's
a Cinderella story and Caddyshack and just throwaway lines. But I think there was maybe Fat Guy in a Little Coat. Obviously, people still are aware of.
One of my favorites was
caught
from you guys, and Fred and I were just like desperate to write down anything that you guys did funny in your interaction. Farley comes out of a wardrobe test in his suit, the iconic brown tweed, and he said, David, does this suit make me look fat? And you fire back, no, your face does. I'm like, that's going in.
Yeah,
that's going in. And that's how we heard about this thing he would do at SNL, Fat Guy in a Little Coat. Okay, we'll put that in. But he never sung it,
Yeah, that was a good one.
One thing that happened in the boredom of making a movie, because you and Chris were used to live TV, one take, 3 cameras, done.
Yes.
And suddenly we're doing multiple takes, multiple angles, and it would get boring. But in that boredom, so I shoot Fat Guy in a Little Coat, I shoot Chris's side, done. I turn around, because we only had 1 camera, we were low budget, turn around, I'm getting Dave, and I thought we were done. That night, Bill Kerr, our editor, calls me and he says, oh my God, you got to go back and reshoot this. I'm like, what are you talking about? You didn't hear Farley off camera. He started singing it and getting all goofy. I'm like, you did? He goes, yeah, look at the dailies. So I looked at him, and sure enough, we turned around the next day and reshot it.
Because Chris was talking and singing while David...
He was bored, so he just starts fucking around.
So the sound was messed up, and he was just bored and didn't know how movies were made. Like his sound was... Got it.
Well, I think he was just doing it not even to get... Just like bored, and then it sounded actually funnier. I remember I saw an outtake recently that I don't remember, of course, where we're in bed at the hotel, and he talks about Zelensky, and I go, "No, he's a nice guy."
Oh, that one, yeah.
And then Chris starts hysterically laughing, and I try to hold the take because maybe you use that one, but when people laugh, it's funny, but sometimes you can't use it. But if you wait a hair longer, you can cut away after.
Yeah.
But he laughs and he goes, "What a fucking dick!" Because I don't know. I guess it was the same thing, just giving it a different reading because of just we've done it too many times, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes things happen.
That is the thing about film is you're supposed to the crew's not supposed to laugh, and no one's supposed to laugh. And so there's this dinner table tension at Thanksgiving where where someone's saying the Lord's Prayer and so you're laughing. So there's that tension there that does create kind of fun moments.
I remember seeing one of the another outtake I'd forgotten about was we shot most of what was Callahan in some abandoned post office, and it had holes in the roof, and birds would get in, and birds would start chirping like crazy, having a fight in the middle of takes, and Chris could not hold it together because he just kept looking up at the birds on the set.
Did you know? It was there. I remember there was some scuttlebutt about Bo Derek cutting her hair. Is that not true?
I don't remember that. I just
because she had long hair from obviously everyone knows from the movie 10,
right?
And she was doing a different movie, and she came right to the set, and she had short hair. And I don't think anyone knew, and we didn't know. I don't know if it was an issue or not. I think everyone was just surprised.
I don't. Yeah, it kind of rings a bell. And I just heard an interview she was doing just a couple days ago, where she said she was not even shooting another movie; she was doing another business in Asia, and she came and was got a phone call and was on the set the next day, coming out of the pool in a bikini.
Oh yeah, I think I did hear that.
And then she said, well, I must have been replacing someone. And I said, I don't think we had anybody.
I don't remember.
We were just so disorganized.
Disorganized. Yeah.
We were just hiring someone the next day. But so the first time I met her, she comes out and they have to show the wardrobe to the director. And she comes out in a robe and she goes, what do you think?
Yes, they do.
So she opens up her robe and first thing I'm looking at is Bo Derek from 10 showing me this bikini on her. I just stared straight at her eyes and said, fine, that's fine.
Fine. Could not be more lovely. She was such a sweetheart. And such a great, another addition. You don't really talk about a lot, but she was so good to have in there because people loved her. I think you said she was the biggest star in the movie, right?
Well, Blake
she had just come off of 10. Yeah. And we had come off of nothing. Also, remember these old outtakes that I think Skippy had that they are somewhere? Maybe I have now. By the way, Pete gifted me with Skippy. When he comes to the door during housekeeping, and I think you said do one with undies on, one with maybe a robe, and then one with nothing.
Yes.
Right?
Just to have it. And then I did tell him, and whatever you do, for the love of God, do not turn around. Well, of course, that's all Chris needed to hear. So he turned around and started flailing around his wiener, just dancing straight into the camera. And I just said, this film will be burned. We will not.
He said, hi, Sherry.
I think you mentioned that.
Hi, Sherry. Yeah, I don't think those ever got out in the fun outtakes that I see on Instagram. Do you feel, I tell you, I felt spoiled coming from SNL with Dana and these guys, just on a writing level and performing level. And then I go to Tommy Boy. And then I've done, some things in life I really love and some things that are a little tougher, But don't you feel spoiled when you get on a set and it's not like that? And you're like, oh my God, this is going to be tough.
Yeah. I mean, people say because that movie is so well remembered, you must have had a blast making it. It wasn't fun making it.
Wasn't that fun?
Movies aren't fun to make generally.
If you tell me it's a hit, I'll give you a hint. This will be a big tip for everybody. If you tell me it's a huge hit ahead of time, it will help a lot.
Yeah.
But the fact that you don't know and the bad ones are just as hard to make as the good ones.
Yeah. That's the unfair part.
Yeah.
Yes. You worked all this. You did all this work, and it makes your career worse.
Yeah.
And you go, that doesn't make sense.
No, and sometimes when things are going too well, I start to not trust it, and then I get into a weird mood that everyone's so nice, everything's so great, everything's so funny. This movie's gonna tank.
Yeah. You never know.
Well, I don't know if people understand this. Like, what was your longest day? Because on low budget films, sometimes you got to go and gold.
Oh, I know that one.
All right. I mean, because that's why you don't even know if it's English. It's 24 hours. How long?
I think I just saw Pete on the set of Bus Boys, and I did I ask you this, that the Factory, I think we did almost 24 hours. Is that possible?
Close?
Probably. It was definitely
because we went day to night and then we shot overnight until like 6 in the morning.
In the high teens, did you say?
Yeah.
It had to be.
Wayne's World had a couple of those where you're like,
I think we only had it and we flew in on a weird thing like after the SNL after party, and then we start Sunday morning, and then we only have it for Sunday, but we go late, but they open Monday morning. So I think it was one of those where we all remember things differently, but I just remember I think we had a lot of cast in it. We had a couple stunts, and all that stuff just slows everything down.
Yeah. That was a long one, but I think the most painful one was cow tipping.
Was what?
Was cow tipping, because it was a night shoot.
Oh, I wasn't
in
there.
the cold, the Great White North, and I don't know. My God, it must have been 0 degrees, and Chris had to, dive in the mud under a cow. And
how are you?
Yeah, and the sun was coming up. If you look hard, you'll see right over his shoulder when he comes up with the mud mask that you see the sun starting to rise. That we were just running out of time.
Yeah. Do you remember the coldest day? I'll tell you this, Dana. Dana's glazing over, but here's the coldest day.
Not at all. I'm
This is
just cold right now.
This is a riveting reveal.
Okay.
I would say, Pete, because it started getting cold and then it got cold fast. Spade from Arizona was not ready and not loving it. I would say probably in my estimation, we're standing by a billboard yelling about the bees to the cops. And then we're going, oh my God, Zelensky. And I think we looped some of it because I couldn't formulate the words because my jaw was frozen.
Well, what are
you know
we
I mean? Like,
looking at? No, I'll see your cold and raise it on a movie.
You'll see where we only have light clothes on.
Were
That's
you
the
in
other problem.
Canada or
Toronto?
Yeah.
Toronto. Okay. Yeah. My movie took place in Ontario, something like that. We were minus 30 Celsius, and me, Nicolas Cage, and John Celsius.
Oh, paradise.
Yeah. Trapped in Paradise with John. And we just fell down in the snow. It was all night shoots. A lot of frostbite. We were wrapped up like the Mummy, and then they take it off, and they
Go.
fans for the snow, you know, so everything was going to be overdubbed. But yeah, so you guys were definitely below zero probably at night.
I think we were close to that because I remember
Probably
going,
the same.
we can't keep shooting and night shoots on top of that. Like every movie I do now, we're like, let's do splits or let's do some other way.
Yeah. No, nights are the worst.
Fucking nurse.
So,
okay, well, go one more day, and then we got to let Steve.
It's like
our guy Pete go.
How to put in context this movie. One thing I was going to say, and this will be a compliment alert for my partner in comedy, is David can do the cut. You know, he can do kind of little, but it's always likable. It never comes with teeth, and so all his little put downs of Chris just always never went to the other level. So that's the chemistry of the two of them. And then with Chris Farley, just thinking when you watch his, guy down by the river and this movie and stuff, I just don't think we've seen another Chris Farley. There must be at one point we will. He's just a singularity in comedy in the last 30 years. And there's been brilliant people and brilliant movies, but he's something unique about him that is sort of irreplaceable right now. I mean, right?
No, absolutely.
Fellas?
And at the 50th, the
100%.
SNL 50th, I bumped into Paul Walter Hauser, who's going to be playing Chris.
Oh,
The Chris Farley story. And I said, look, if you ever want to grab a lunch, I'll tell you stories. So that's going to be.
He definitely should. I talked to him at one of my shows. He came and we talked about it. He's got an uphill battle, but I said, good luck to you. The guy's a good actor. So.
Yeah.
Chris had that throaty when I'm just, that thing that's really hard to duplicate. He'd put so much into that, that would be what I would try to advise that actor to try to get that tone and get that energy.
I says. I go, you're making that a full update bit? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, I says right to him. I says, and that's his whole bit. I go, a fucking full update? He's like, yep, and it's gonna kill. And then it did. Shit. So funny. Yeah. Well, Pete, thank you, bud.
Thank you.
I will say to Dana's point quickly, when I'm on the bench, I don't know if it's your idea or whoever's idea, I'm kind of borderline mean to Chris the whole movie, but when I'm on the bench, I say he's my only friend. That's erases it.
Dude, I just watched, there was a screening last night, and exactly when that scene came up, that was really nicely done the way you did it. It was very genuine, it was very real, and it kind of made the whole arc of your relationship with Tommy Callahan work, that scene.
Yeah, mates. It helped it make sense.
The put down.
Yeah, because they just feel sorry for me.
It's like a song, and then he's my only friend. It's just filmmaking. Well, congratulations on being the director of one of our all-time classic comedies and everything else you've done. Naked Gun. But anyway.
Appreciate it.
That segment was brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll find the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts are knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, quite friendly. Okay, so that was Pete Siegel. Great talking to him. I do want to jump on that. We talked afterwards about a musical for Fat Guy in a Little Coat, and then the Tommy Boy musical.
Yeah, the Tommy Boy musical. I was serious.
And then on Broadway, and then we could do Richard, my character, who never had a friend, and so I get to do your idea was a song.
You single a song. I mean, it'd be so funny. I never had a friend.
I walk away from Tommy on the bench and go sing. Yeah. And maybe I thought this is interesting casting. I get played by Ariana Grande. And don't do anything to her. Just the way she is. It just looks like me. Actually, she could pull her hair back.
She
it's
looks
always
like her
back
little
tight.
sister.
Just put little bangs on. Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. Doing that SNL in the fall when she was host, that gal is multi-talented. I mean, she could do anything. Literally, she could probably work up an impression of you if she had to. She's got an incredible ear.
I have to say, I thought I was calling this early the last time she hosted. That she, I wanted to get word to her. So funny. And she's really good. She did Jennifer Lawrence. It was funny.
Yeah.
Then she goes in the thing where she sings all these different songs in the radio station.
Different voices.
And she's so talented. And she's such a little twig. And she just rips it out with a great voice. And she's cute, funny. I mean, I don't know how she does it. That show is tough. And I'm so tough. And it makes me crumble. But
she... I did Jennifer Coolidge with her and Chloe.
Oh, that's right. Mm.
And that was fun. She had a blast. I mean, I think that people don't do sketch comedy all the time. When it's working, it's really fun, you know?
Right. I almost want to see Wicked literally just for her because I just want to see, I know nothing about Wicked, but she's good and she sings well.
Wizard of Oz, basically.
Yeah. Let's not. Did you know that Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man? That he didn't already have. Who is that? Go. Who is
I
it?
know it is already. I'm just saying for people listening, I'm going to give you 3 seconds. America.
That's the band America.
Yeah.
And that song is
nothing to.
I never understood that as a kid. Have you ever realized some words as a kid you don't understand because you don't know what it means? Like they say like a phrase or something you've never heard, and now you get older, you go, "Oh, now I get what that meant."
Right, because you remember the movie. You had nothing.
I didn't know he was saying Oz. That was such a clever little thing to say.
Yeah, instead of the Wizard of Oz.
Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man.
Like the Tin Man didn't have a heart, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but they said, but he didn't already have.
That he already had it. The whole theme, the whole theme of the movie.
I didn't get it. The whole movie. Anyway, so
you were 2.
We'll quickly show the machete story just to show it's true, and then we'll move on. All right, so this one is for sponsor BetMGM, and if you BetMGM, follow or you tag them at. All socials are at BetMGM. They are the sports book born in Vegas. BetMGM's NBA Fast Break, free to play. Jimmy Fallon, have you heard about this?
Yes, it's free to play every day. It's like insane. You just win prizes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you get it. Yeah. Okay. So log on to BetMGM every day and play the new Fast Break basketball game for your chance to win prizes. All you need to do is log on to BetMGM, head to the promotions page, and fire up Fast Break to find yourself on the b-ball court ready to play.
It's ready to play. Hold on a second. Oh, this is insane. The b-ball court. You're ready to play. It's insane. I can't believe it.
Yep. Play Fast Break for your daily shot at boost tokens, bonus bets, or bonus spins.
Yeah, bonus spins. Oh, my God. That's incredible. David Spade. Bonus spins of David Spade. Oh, man.
But I have to tell you, Jimmy, BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. This promotional offer is not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. For New York, 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, you live up by there, Jimmy, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. 1-800-327-5050 for Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. New and existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 7 days. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. This was it. Ninja swords.
i.e. machetes.
Even worse. Ninjas are the band.
Jeez.
Goddamn. Okay, enough of that one. What's the next one? Give us anything. We will do anything.
Mm-hmm. I read an article. I don't have a picture of it, but I thought it was interesting.
Lie.
The divorce rate of people in their 40s and 50s has quadrupled. Oh, okay. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll go back to divorce rate, but
Yeah.
Trump officials texted attack plans to a group chat. Oh, everyone's heard of this story. From a secure app. They don't want to say Signal, but I'm on Signal for a fantasy football chat. But it's supposed to be airtight. And this is a mess.
This is something when you hear it, you kind of go, what? Like, how in the fuck does that happen? And can you imagine the person that had to deliver the news to Trump?
What are you saying? I don't understand. What are you saying?
What are you saying? What are you saying?
Say it again.
They fucked up. They fucked up good. They're fucking morons. I'm not going to fire them, but that's a fucking move you'd never fucking make. I mean, right?
I will say, if somebody screws up, Republican or Democrat, the first thing they say is, you should quit. And they always go, guys, why are we even doing this? You think I'm ever going to quit? And there's no one on either side that's ever just going to quit. They have to be literally pushed out with a bulldozer.
No.
So they don't do it. But that thing's funny because I thought it'd be funny for you if they said that group chat was left over that Biden set it up, and it would be funny if Biden was still on it and he was he thought it was the lunch orders for the White House every day. And he's like, Hama, do they have fish kebabs? And they're like, I'm sorry, sir. Who is this? He's
I like some Hamas with my egg salad sandwich. Come on, folks.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding around here.
Everybody get your orders in. We're going to do this thing.
Yeah, I'll have a bomb burger.
Bomb burger.
Iran style.
He doesn't understand it. He's reading it all. And then he accidentally FaceTimes evereveryone. They're like, don't answer. It's Biden.
He thinks it's all food.
His face is like this.
I'll have a snack attack. Excuse me, a sneak attack. The attack's underwater now sandwich.
I kind of like snack attack, sneak attack.
Sneak attack is sandwich.
This sandwich is the bomb. Huh?
Yeah. Come on.
Shit. Come on. Everyone, look at my new emoji I found.
Guess what? We got the beef.
Where's the beef?
We got the beef. No, Arby's. We got the meat.
They changed that. That's a little like Wendy's. Where's the beef? I hate this.
Yeah, they copy each other.
Fucking copy.
Who did what? What are you doing?
Okay. This is a story that came out last week, right when Superfly. I didn't know enough data. Now I have even less. There's a vast underground city below Giza pyramids, which
yes,
not to be confused with I'm a geezer. Egypt's pyramids. Scientists. Wild theory claims. Experts debunk it. I will say it's a riveting story if it's close to true. That they have these, you can't see, but in those infrared heat-seeking, that photo above.
Yeah.
It says, they're too specific. Now, if you can't see it and you're just going by, there's a mass down there, there's something down there, and it goes down about 3 football fields. That's interesting enough. But they're like, and it had sparklers on it and a Christmas tree light. And I'm like, it's underground. You can't know all that. Right?
Well, look, this is a provable thing. Right now, people said it's real. It's debunked. So somebody go in there and
dig them up. Let's dig them up.
Send Biden in there. Go in there and check to see if there's a Patuma Parataco, the Pharaoh. Look.
Paratactyl?
What was it? Tubaku? I can't remember the famous tin.
Just go with Tut.
Tin Cup. King Tut. Tutankhamun, that guy. Remember in 4th grade, you'd study the Egyptians.
Yeah, we got a lot in common.
By the way, they still don't know how the pyramids got built. So
fuck, dude, it's so dialed in. There's copper in there. There's things in there that make them like electrical rods for some UFO shit. I'm all in.
I want a secret alien city to be there. I honestly do. I really want a secret alien city under the pyramids.
I'm scared.
So we can kind of relax and go, we're not alone. Like, does it really matter that we're not alone? But we may not be.
I'm
alone.
a little. My conclusion is that we aren't alone, and I'm a little relaxed about it because they could kill us so fast that at least they're not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I had heard Roswell was lightning knocked him out of the sky, and then they were like, they don't feel so hot, because they crashed. And they're like, everyone just be cool, nothing to see here. And there's like, oh, there's a lot to see here, dude.
I know.
That's them talking to the aliens. They're like,
there's a lot of
yeah.
shenanigans with the JFK report coming out. A lot of let's keep that quiet and don't let anyone know that. So you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to kind of ask questions like, okay,
I think if any of that shit happened, even 9/11 right now, people would shoot so many holes through that so fast. Like back then, it was a world all through life. This is what's in school. This is what you're taught. But when people ask a few questions and it trips them up, you go, wait, it shouldn't be that hard. Like,
right.
What's this? What's this? So it is fun to follow those stories. Some are true, some aren't, but.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen A. Smith.
There is no doubt that LeBron James is the second greatest basketball player of all time.
None. No doubt. Never in question.
Anyway.
Well, Stephen A. Smith would take a swing at LeBron. This is where it goes a little haywire. I don't think he should bring this up because when I saw him talking, he's like, obviously LeBron could pound me, fine. But LeBron's like a physical specimen
He's
with the best
physical
doctors and trainers in the world.
Best sense of the word. Yeah.
So, yeah. And one's a sports reporter. So it's like, let's take that out of the equation of who could win it. But anytime you get in a beef with someone, there's always in the back of your mind, what if we get in a fight? Because it gets tempers flare.
If LeBron put his weight behind it at his size, he could really hurt somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen A. Smith's kind of slender. I mean, he's pretty tall, but he's not LeBron. And he knows, but it's just gotten to playground stuff. LeBron did post an image of him 10 years ago. He said he had dislocated shoulders of him boxing. And Stephen A. Smith said it was a bad look. And then he came back today with a 15-minute diatribe. Yeah, defending the whole thing. He wasn't making fun of Bronny. I mean, it just sort of, who was it, Albert Brooks, that said life is like high school with money? Guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like there's people I don't like out there in showbiz, and it's like high school. You're not going to get along with everyone. And so it's okay to, did you hear that? Not funny.
What did Heather say?
When I plug in my phone, can you hear what it says? Oh, there it is.
Beep, bop, boop. Okay.
It took a hair too long, that motherfucking. Okay, I'm going to give everyone one more shot at it. And Heather, you cannot talk. Shake the phone up. Look, there's Harper.
What is that about?
Okay, ready? Everybody quiet. On the set, we're rolling.
Beep, bop, boop.
That's a good one. Every time you plug it in and people aren't ready for it, they go, what is it?
That's something you say. That's one of your...
It's something I say. And Heather told me that you can, I think hers says, hey, Heather. So if you plug it in, it can say something very short. And I was like, and I go, oh no, it sounds too robotic. So I go, oh, maybe it should say something robotic. Beep, bop, boop.
Beep, bop, boop, boop, boop.
Okay, so Stephen A. Smith started about LeBron and Bronny.
Well, Stephen A. Smith, I don't know I didn't listen to everything. Just said
confrontation on the court
about that, and he was just saying that he did not believe that Bronny James, who by the way dropped 39 this week in the G League, was ready for the NBA. So that was,
So yeah, so LeBron saw him at a game on the court and said, "Hey." To the effect of
don't shit on my son. And so I get the emotionality of it, and I get that side. I think this leads, and we'll talk to our friend Ted Sarandos. One night only, Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James sit down and talk it out. Then LeBron James will put on a 100-pound weighted suit, and they will go 3 rounds with David Spade as the referee.
I'm the ref? Okay.
And Dana Flarfo as the announcer. No, we're both the announcers.
No, you open.
I do a Q10. I do my
You do
whole
a few
thing.
up front.
Sweet potatoes, sweet potatoes.
Just that part of your act. And then, yeah, celebrity boxing should come back. That would be
I'm
good.
just on Team Brawny. I think he's in the toughest position for any young athlete. I think he's brave to do what he's doing. LeBron's being the dad. And I hope in the end of the day, Brawny becomes a good NBA player and his dad will eventually retire. He can't play to 50 in the NBA, can he? You know,
Let's look at a clip.
what
Yep,
a
he
hot
played at
take I had
53.
there.
Yeah, that was a hot
That was
take.
a hot take.
It was a Luke take.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next story. Sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes.
Oh, I thought this was interesting.
Oh,
It's one of those where you have to listen to it. Is it too boring?
Theo wanted a comedian to, that's what you do in big comedy movies. And Jim wanted an actor who would make him
For Dumb and
listen, who
Dumber.
would react, who would get it. It's a buddy-buddy
And the
movie.
studio
Jim. I
wanted
said, I
a
can't, a comedian will just try to top me. And then we're into that. And that's not what this is. There's a heart to this. There's these two guys. They're stupid as hell, but there's a heart to them. I got the role, and I was aware that others wanted someone else, but I knew that Jim, Pete, and Bobby Farrelly wanted me. So we all went to Breckenridge, Colorado.
It's an interesting
to start
showbiz
shooting.
story.
And the first morning, we shot the scooter. Me and Jim driving down the mountain pass,
Right.
and I say, I got to pee, and he says,
I got this script ahead
Yeah.
of time.
that was the first morning, first day,
Before
pulling
they cast
into
you.
Aspen, supposedly, and the snot coming down, getting off the scooter. That was morning
Hilarious.
one.
He stays on his
Jim
back.
Yeah.
didn't work the rest of the week. We went to the lodge. We did the chairlift on the pole with the tongue on the pole.
Didn't
Oh,
work
look,
the whole
Frost.
week.
why? Because he was broken.
We
or-
did
okay.
the tongue
Watch.
sitting there getting
I
pulled
didn't figure it
off.
out either.
We did
Yeah,
going into the ski lodge, crashing the skis.
Funny.
Jim's not
physical
working.
comedy.
Now we do the
Great.
snowball in the head. Now we get
Hilarious.
to Thursday and
Physical.
Friday, and Jim hasn't worked yet. And I may be in Dumb and Dumber, but I'm not stupid. The audition is still going on. I come to find out they're going to
Crazy.
assemble these scenes
Right.
featuring me, and we're all somewhere going to look at them over the weekend.
Without
And
Jeff Daniels.
somebody is on call. Somebody who's a comedian is
Crazy.
waiting to hear whether he's going to go do the movie or not.
Mr.
Nobody told
James
me.
Carey.
But you could feel it. Maybe I'm
Welcome
just
to Hollywood.
hallucinating. I don't know. Maybe I'm being paranoid. I don't know. Okay. I wait
Well,
Sunday. I get the
you
call.
got it.
See you Monday morning, 6 a.m. Huh. Maybe I'm wrong. Go into makeup Monday morning.
Cliffhanger.
Now we're shooting a scene with me and Jim. Jim walks into the makeup trailer, pats me on the shoulder, leans in, and says, just keep doing what you're doing. They love you. Kept walking. Jim Carrey's a friend of the
Okay.
To this day. That's what he said.
All right. They
That's
offered
cool.
me, or they reached out to me to play the sidekick.
For real?
Yeah. And
That doesn't seem like a stretch.
well, I think Jeff Daniels was great. And by the way, all those scenes that they showed were physical comedy.
Mhm.
You know,
You would have
put
been great. I didn't think of that.
the tongue throws the snowball because falls down. So
Throws it too hard, I think.
but
with
it worked. It worked great. He played it. You know, he's a serious actor, and he hosted SNL. Incredibly down to earth guy. Lives in Michigan his whole life, and he played it. He played it funny. It really worked. And with Jim Carrey as such a supernova, you wouldn't want anybody trying to. You wanted something juxtaposed to him, so it worked. I mean, it's a classic comedy. It's great.
That's what he's saying. The studio wants a comic.
Mhm.
Jim wanted him, and he's basically Jim saying,
You got to try out,
we can't have two Jim Carreys. We
Yeah.
have to,
And-
and that's what would have happened.
and that was his tryout.
I thought that was interesting that people don't know. He had the whole week with no scenes with Jim, and everyone just watching
Yeah,
and going, and then they go,
is
okay,
he
keep him.
funny? They're saying,
I did-
can he be funny? Mhm.
yeah, and he did a good job. Okay,
Yeah, he
that's
did.
all.
He was absolutely hilarious in the movie.
Well, Dana,
Um,
you were perfectly pleasant today. You were a lot of fun.
I thought that Pete Siegel, he called you Dave, and you called him Pete. I called him Peter, and I call you David. I thought that was kind of
Ah.
interesting. But it was
Sort of.
nice revisiting that movie, and we had fun talking about everything.
T Boy keeps. We had a lot of trivia in there. I liked.
And I'm feeling more and more positive the more I hear information from other funny people and people in the industry. Not to jinx it, but this movie, Busboys, I just feel like it's the right timing for sort of what's coming out. I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
saying.
I'm going to look at it this weekend. I'm going to look at it
Yeah.
rough. and then we get to start to needle it. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking it might be good. So I'm excited.
Yep.
It felt funny and we did it. So let's see. This has been a presentation of Odyssey. Superfly is executive produced by Dana Carvey and David Spade, Jenna Weiss-Berman of Odyssey, Heather Santoro, and Greg Holtzman. Hope you liked it. Ooh.